I have a situation where I have money owed to me by my ex-wife, and let me explain to you briefly the situation.
How exciting.
See if I got a chance. 1970, we bought a home when we were married. 1974, and the home was in both our names from the state of Michigan. 1974, we were divorced, and in that divorce, I gave her and the children the house in the divorce papers.
You gave it to them?
Yes.
With no conditions?
Not written conditions. Her and I made a verbal agreement that we would equally split whatever equity was in the house during those 4 years. Verbally only.
Well, verbally doesn't mean very much.
Well, but we go on here.
Go ahead.
It gets deeper. At that time, I decided that I would sign a quitclaim deed for the house.
Well, that's not unusual either.
Never did it.
Okay.
20 years later...
And moving right along.
Yeah, 20 years later, she wants to refinance the house. I asked her and wanted me to sign the quitclaim because she can't refinance without the mortgage company wanted my name signed off. And
signed off or signed on?
Well, she couldn't do it without my name.
Yeah, but she probably...
What she wanted me to do was sign a quitclaim deed, and I said, well, what are you going to do with the money? She said, I'm going to fix the house up and pay off my car. I said, well, if you're going to take some money out, pay me.
How much does she owe you, in your opinion?
Well, we both agreed $2,017 was to come to me.
2017?
Yeah. Don't ask me how. I agreed to it. It was pretty close. I figured about $2,500. I settled for 2017.
17.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So she says, well, look, I got a timeline. She's in Michigan. I'm in Norman, Oklahoma. She got a timeline problem. The mortgage company, the last date that they would do this on the interest rate they guaranteed me is so-and-so date. Sign the quitclaim. And I said, well, look, I don't trust you. You signed me. It happened to be that day. I said, well, you fax me the promissory note that you will pay me within 30 days, $2,017, and we agreed on some 8% interest on the money that over that 20 years.
Hold on, let me see. They did 15. 9 8 72, right?
Yeah.
So that would double in 9 years.
About 3,000 more.
How much?
It was about 3,000 more, I think.
It'd be more than that.
I can't remember exactly.
I'll tell you. Just give me a second.
All right.
You said 8%, right?
Yes.
In 9 years, it would double to 4,000. Forget the $17, please. It would double to 4,000. In 18 years, it would double to 8,000. And you have 2 years of the 8. You were talking about something like about $9,300.
Okay, well, that's something I knew she couldn't afford at the time.
Right.
All right. So I said, look, you give me the 2,000 within 30 days of the promissory note of when I signed the quitclaim.
Yeah.
And then the 8%, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got that day, she had Federal Expressed me the quitclaim deed. I didn't sign it and send it back until I got that fax promissory note with the Notary Public's stamp and all that kind of good stuff on it. But that's a copy. And then she said she would forward me the original within 3 or 4 days. Well, I never got the original. I held up my end of the bargain. I signed the quitclaim. She got the money. And 30 days later, I called her up and said, where's my $2,000? She said, I'm not giving it to you. Now, my question to you is, have I got a shot at her? Now, I don't have the original. I have a copy of the promissory note. I
don't know the answer to that. I forget it. I think because you handled it poorly.
Yeah?
What you should have done was been represented for maybe a $200 bill when a condition of the closing was you got paid at the closing. And the money when she refinanced, it's called a closing.
Okay.
And that's when you should have got paid right there.
I figured that my closing was the 30 days.
That's not the closing. The closing is as I described it.
Yeah. So
at this point, come on. Why is she trying? Are you still on the deed?
No, I signed a quitclaim.
That doesn't mean you're not on the deed.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You may or may not be on the deed. I don't know.
Well,
if they took you off, that's another story. I hope they did, tell you the truth. But the point is, why is she trying to stick you now after all this time?
I guess she wants to pay her car off and fix the house instead of giving it to me.
Well, what does she say? You're not getting it, period?
You're not getting it until I sell the house, which could be never. She may refinance again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My question is that promissory note that I have that's a copy is no good.
What do you mean it's a copy? Does it have her signature on it?
It has her signature. It has a notary public stamp.
Well, that's just what difference does it make? It's not a copy. That's an original.
Well, but it was faxed to me. It's not original. She faxed the original to me, so it came out to me as a copy. But I see the embossed stamp in the copy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's valid or not. But, you could turn it over to an attorney, to a collection agency in her community, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you want to go that far.
Well, okay.
20 years later, she's still sticking it to you, huh?
Isn't that something?
Did you make your appropriate support payments and stuff over the years?
Oh, boy, did I. And gladly so, my children.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that was no problem. In fact, that's why I gave her the house. I wanted the kids to have a nice place to live.
Mm-hmm.
And the good guys get stuck, I guess.
Well, you didn't get stuck for too much anyway.
How about this question now, related to it? If I do go to court with her, could I ask for costs?
You can ask.
Huh?
You can ask.
But in your experience, is that ever done?
It's oftentimes asked. It is frequently granted and sometimes not granted, depending on the circumstance.
Yeah.
But you can always ask.
Given.
I do wish you well, my friend. It's 20 years, they still fight. This is Talknet. We're going now to Kirksville, Missouri. Hello there.
Hi, this is John.
Yes, sir.
I'm having trouble with a contractor finishing up some work that he's supposed to do.
What kind of a job is it, John?
He replaced half the foundation
Of
the basement.
Of a home?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an older home.
Replaced half?
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
And then in the meantime, the sewer line broke, and he had to put in a new sewer line.
You mean the sewer line broke because of something he did?
No. It was just old.
Okay.
And in the meantime, while he was digging around the house, he had damaged some siding and a couple windows.
Mm-hmm.
And he's supposed to fix those. And he's supposed to replace some water lines, too, that are coming up from the back of the house up to the front bathroom. And he's got the foundation walls in and everything, but he hasn't done none of the other work.
How much was this whole job supposed to cost, John?
Around $6,000.
And how much money have you paid him so far?
I paid him all of it.
Why, John?
Well, he wanted it first before he'd start the work.
Why did you select him? Was he the cheapest?
No, it's a very small town. It's really hard to find people to do it, to do the work.
Yeah, but why? I mean, John, why would you pay a guy everything up front?
I don't know. I'm wondering that now.
Well, very foolish, my friend.
Right.
How long has it been since he did the last work?
About 4 months.
You gotta be kidding. And what have you been doing about all this?
Calling him.
And?
Keeps on saying he'll be over and he'll take care of it.
And he doesn't show up?
No.
Boy. Have you got any idea how much the work that he's done now is worth?
Not really.
Well, that's what you're going to have to determine, Tiger.
You mean how much is left? How much?
That's right. How much does he owe you? Then you have to hire somebody to go out and do the rest of the work and sue him for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, maybe did you check out his credentials at all before you hired him?
No, but I should have.
Yeah, you certainly should have. In a small town, that'd be easy to do.
No.
All you can do now, guy, is have somebody else come in and finish it up, pay them, and then go after this fella for the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not much of an alternative, but I haven't got anything else for you. St. Louis, Missouri. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I'm kind of nervous.
No, not to be nervous. What's your first name?
Kathleen.
All right, Kathleen. Let's you and I go out and let's get it done.
Okay. My husband and I both work, and we're thinking about starting a family soon.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have the baby, I'm going to quit work and stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is we have about $7,000 in credit card debt.
You need the money, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have about $11,000 in my pension.
Yeah, but $11,000 in your pension is going to be penalized 10%.
Right.
And then you got to pay the taxes.
Right.
That would not be a shrewd move.
So it would be better just to keep making the monthly payments?
No.
No?
It'd be better to work a little harder, earn some extra money, and pay it off.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say.
What a rotten thing to say. Hey, it's terrible to be so predictable. No, listen, forget about that. What I want you to do, Kathleen, is start buying lottery tickets, you see. When you hit the lottery, happily,
I'm not
honey,
that lucky.
you got yourself in, you got to get yourself out.
Right.
And you get yourself out. What do you guys do for a living?
My husband's an air traffic controller, and I work for a law firm.
What do you do?
Accounts payable.
Well, that figures. Why am I not surprised? Well, you see, you're not that far. Do you have any savings outside of your pension plan?
Yeah, well, my husband has a pretty substantial pension plan. Plus,
No, forget the pension plans. I want to know about savings, cash in the bank, that kind of stuff.
not very much, like maybe $2,000.
How much do you guys earn between you?
Well, he's going to get a promotion soon. That's
No,
why
I'm talking about now. How much do you earn?
About $65,000.
And you guys with no trolls.
Well, I've got a stepdaughter that lives with us.
Okay. One child. You still can't pay off a $7,000 debt?
Well, I know.
It sounds to me like you're living a little beyond your means, Bobby. How old are you guys?
I'm 31. My husband's 30.
Okay, you're not kids.
No.
Do you own your own home?
We're buying it, yeah.
How much is your monthly payment?
$600.
Well, that's certainly reasonable. Where's all the dough going?
Well, we bought an older home, and we've been rehabbing it, so we've been putting a lot of money into that.
Well, if it were me, Kathleen, I'd start to get you two on a budget. A very tight budget. Get that paid off before you start having kids, and you should be able to knock that off pretty quick with your income. A little discipline. Good luck, hon. I'm Bruce for Talknet. Hey, a little while, Danny and I are going to be here taking your calls off the air for about 5 hours, from 10 p.m. Eastern Time right through 3 a.m. The number, 800-743-8000. Goes very quickly. If you get it busy, just call right back. Cincinnati, Ohio, hello there.
Hi, Bruce. This is Barbara.
Yes, Barbara.
I'd like to ask your opinion about a mobile home that my brother, sister, and I inherited when my dad passed away at the end of February. This mobile home is in a very nice mobile home park in Rio Grande, New Jersey.
Rio Grande?
It's near Wildwood.
Okay.
And he paid about $45,000
wow,
7 years ago. It's a very nice home in a very nice area.
That's a lot of dough for a mobile home, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know.
Is it double wide?
I guess. I don't know what you call it. I'm not familiar with them.
Okay,
I mean, I've
Barbara.
been there, but I'm not familiar with
Sure.
them. Well, my brother lives in California, my sister in Pennsylvania, and I'm in Cincinnati. So we decided to list it for sale with the office, the mobile home office there. And we listed it. There's a lot of homes for sale in this park. I mean, lots of them. And we listed it among the lowest. They go up to 40 and 50,000. And we listed it at 34, figuring we could come down a little bit. My question is that I disagree a little bit with my brother about what we should do with this home.
What do you want to do with it?
Well, I would just like to sell it and get rid of it. I understand from him, he's the executor, that we have to pay 7% commission to the office. And it's apparent to me that they're not doing anything. They will show the home if somebody inquires, but they don't advertise or do anything to get people in there. And we had the home. The home is in very good condition. We had it scrubbed from top to bottom and then closed it up, and no one's been in it since. So I just would like your opinion about...
You might not have so many options, Barbara.
We don't, probably.
See, in many these mobile home parks, they have the exclusivity.
Oh, we can list it. We do have that option. Yes.
Well, then why don't you list it then?
Well, I mean, do you think that would be, in most cases, do you think that would be better than...
Well, you said this has been since the first of the year, if memory serves.
Well, no, we listed it probably in March.
Well, that's 4 months. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
And you've had no action.
Well, we had a few calls. I mean, I guess they've shown it a few times, and that's it. And about 2 homes have sold in there.
That's all.
That's all.
Well, it tells me that there's not much activity and there's not much action to be shown. You don't think these guys don't want tenants?
No, I don't think that.
It's a soft market. You guys, I assume it's paid for, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Well,
But we have to pay $400 a month
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
rent.
But I understand that.
For the lot.
But you're in a better position than a lot of the neighbors who have big mortgages.
Right.
You'd be better off just to lower the price till it goes.
Just lower it.
Just keep lowering. You know, this weekend, $29.99 or something. Maybe one of you guys ought to go down on vacation for a couple of weeks, nice part of the world. No, I'm serious, and try to sell it while you're there.
Well, I guess that would be nice if we could get there, but...
Well, wait a minute now. You're in Cincinnati. You know, Barbara, I want you to sit down. Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
It is not necessary to have shots or a passport to go from Cincinnati to New Jersey.
I know. I was back there a lot this year.
Planes fly back and forth on an hourly basis.
I was back there a lot this year.
So why don't we get back and take a couple, 3 weeks and go live in this thing and try to peddle it?
I work.
Well, could we take a little time off?
I just took off for my son's wedding out of town. And
Oh, well, I'm sure that's an important event, I grant you.
yeah, I've taken time off. So.
How about one of the other siblings? Could they take some time off?
Well, I can see if someone can.
Do you have an adult kid that could spend a couple, 3 weeks there?
Not that lives close. We're all...
I didn't say live
out.
close. Who has to live close?
Well, they all work. They all work.
Well, you see, unfortunately, Barbara, somebody has got to do something. You just can't I'm not picking on you. You just made the inquiry, but you just can't, it's not going to happen in and of itself. Now, one of you guys is going to have to go down there and make it happen.
So you think we should go and look for somebody to buy the home?
Yes. Sure do. And offer it at such a bargain price, they can't say no.
The other question, well, I can look into that. The other question I have is if we have an opportunity to rent it, which we did have an opportunity.
I wouldn't do that.
You would not?
No, ma'am.
That's why we decided not to, but we were afraid to, see what kind of condition it might get in.
Long-term landlordship is a tough proposition. But look, you guys haven't got a penny invested there.
No.
Came from your father. If you sold it for $25,000, you're still going to walk out with something.
That's my opinion, too.
Sell it.
My brother thinks that the market will come back.
Well, and then why don't you say to your brother, I'll tell you what, I'll sell you my interest
well,
for...
he said he might consider that.
Well, then do it.
We might do that.
Tell him you'll take $10,000 for your interest. See what he says to that.
Mm-hmm.
And take $8.
Okay, thank you.
Barbara, unfortunately, to make things happen, somebody's got to make it. They don't happen by themselves. And so many of us are looking for easy solutions to moderately complex problems. And oftentimes you got to not give necessarily, but contribute of your body. That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Or a surrogate. You got to send somebody, one of your kids, your husband, somebody. I do wish you well there. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. All righty, we go to Saginaw, Michigan. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How you doing?
Okay, kid.
Yeah, I've been listening to you for a long time, and, well, now it's my turn to call you up and ask you for your advice.
Let us talk.
Okay. Well, I have my primary job, and about 7 months ago, I picked up another one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, during that time...
What is your primary job?
Pardon me?
What is the primary job?
I'm a general merchandiser.
What does that mean?
Well, I serve the public.
What do you do for a living? Don't just tell me. No aggrandizement.
Well, I really don't do a lot for a living. What I try to do is I try to make ends meet. Okay.
What do you do? You go out when you go to work. What do you do? Serious.
Well, I go out and I stock shelves.
You stock shelves in what, a supermarket or something?
Well, I answer phones. I'm in a big corporation. We're in the Northeast.
You mean you're a stock clerk? Is that it?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And, well, from your advice, you take on a second job, try to advance or excel and try to make ends meet and, better yourself.
Yeah, I just try to get an idea what you did, that's all. Okay. So you do some kind of a stock clerk job. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, my second job was a job that I loved.
What's that?
It was retail. Selling shoes.
Okay.
Selling boots. Just more or less mingling with the public, doing what was right for them. Well, it just so happened that the manager, this was a small business that was franchised out through a bigger business. It was kind of like bought. And, well, we all, the three of us, it was just run by three people. And, well, the three of us, we got along great, and there was no problems or no anything, and everything went fine. Well, when the gentleman or the manager went on vacation, I ran into a problem. And
what was you're trying to either use bigger words than are necessary or disguise all this. Just tell me the story. Okay. The guy went on vacation, and what happened?
Bottom line is, now I have 3 jobs.
Well, wait a minute. What you skipped ahead here. The manager went on vacation. What happened?
I wrote a check. Well, I didn't write a check because I didn't have my checkbook.
What happened?
Okay. What happened was, while I had my first job, I got my second job.
Yes.
And while I had my second job, I got my third job.
What happened when the manager went on vacation? You took some money?
Pardon me?
Would you take some money?
No.
Well, what happened?
Okay, the thing that happened was the fact that I was closing the store.
Yeah.
And when I closed the store, the manager told me that I could write a check. And this was throughout the whole...
The check for what?
He told me that I could write a check to the company anytime I wanted.
For what?
For cash.
You cashed one of your checks.
Okay, but I didn't.
What did you do?
What I did was I took the money with the intention...
You took the money with the intention of replacing it.
The next day, because I was just a closer while he was on vacation.
What happened?
Okay, well, I came in the next day, and the other gentleman who was working told me that his other partner wanted to talk to me. Well, I called the other partner up on the phone, and, he told me what was going on, because the other partner had recently been embezzled out of...
Without regard to that, you took money that didn't belong to you with the intention of repaying it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, then why didn't you say so? Never mind all this other business. And they caught you.
Well, no, it's not that they didn't catch me.
They did or did not catch you?
Well, yes, they did.
Okay.
But they did not catch me. I mean, it was...
Off we go now to Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Hello.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hi there.
Fine. I have a question regarding a real estate agent. This is long distance in Alabama, and she is presently handling a house as well as a condo for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the condo is one of 4 units, and it needed painting, and I was aware of that. But my husband has been sick all year, and I said, I don't want any more problems. I want to sell it as is. I want to sell the house as is, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
So last week when I was talking to her, she said, well, Jenny, you really should go ahead and paint the condo, because 2 of the 4 units had already agreed and had their condos painted.
We're talking about the exterior or interior?
Exterior.
Right.
The exterior of it, and they're wood. And she said 2 of them have been painted, and she said it looks ridiculous for yours to be sitting there not being painted because it's the end unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I had no idea that they had gone ahead with it, because I had written the man and said, no, I do not want to participate in the painting, And then a couple of days later, the president of the Homeowners Association sent me a letter saying they're invoking rule number 7, which says something to the effect that they're going to go ahead and paint
Yes,
it.
if 3/4 of the people want to paint and one doesn't, which is not an unreasonable rule.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was after the fact. I mean, he hadn't contacted me. He hadn't talked to me personally and whatnot. And when I talked to him, I said, well, Kathleen said that 2 of the units had been painted, and I said, I wasn't aware of that. I said, that sounds ridiculous for anybody to do that. And he said, to my knowledge, it has not been painted.
She was lying to you.
Yeah.
Wow. So
now, where do I go?
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I want to do several things.
Well, what do you want to do? First of all...
See, she's handling my property, so how hard can I smack her without ruffling feathers?
Well, it's far. You can't even lay a glove on her without ruffling feathers. The question is, are you prepared to ruffle feathers?
No, but
Well, then what are we talking about?
I let him know this. I let the president of the homeowners...
No, wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit. The real estate lady called and said the place has been painted and they had not been. Then she lied to you.
Yeah.
Assuming that you understood her, that she didn't say they're going to be painted or
No, she said they are painted and they look ridiculous.
And clearly, you're no, wait a minute. There's a guy you talked to. Does he live there?
Yes.
Well, he ought to know if they've been painted then.
Yes. And
why don't you call her and call her on it?
No, I called him back and I said, I want you to put that in writing that those units have not been painted because she...
All right. So let's get past that. Let's assume that A, they haven't been painted, and B, she lied to you.
Okay.
Question is, why would she lie to you? And secondly, if she has lied to you, what are you going to do about it, if anything?
This is the woman who is handling my real estate.
We know all about that.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you that. I said the question to be resolved is, what are you going to do? You can fire her.
I can fire her how? I mean, can I write a letter?
You're fired. I'm taking the listings away because you clearly lied to me.
Oh, thank you.
You missed, but I don't know if you want to do that or not.
Well, I may.
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, if I put it in writing.
Now, you got to be very careful that you can prove. I hope you know what you're doing, the guy you're dealing with.
No, it's verbal. That's all it is. It's her and mine.
No, it's also her, you, and that guy.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to touch all the bases.
Okay.
But I don't see what you have to gain by all this.
Well...
You're ticked off.
I'm apprehensive about her, and I've been apprehensive, and I went with her because my husband insisted.
Why are you apprehensive about her prior to this? Forget about it.
Because she has insisted in the past that, well, she's handled a lot of real estate.
All I want to know is why you're apprehensive.
Because I've had bad dealings with her before.
What kind of bad dealings?
One, people that we rented from left us with $200 on the phone bill.
That'll happen.
I know that'll happen.
How is she gonna prevent that?
This has been over 10 years. It's been nothing but...
I want to know how is she... No, let's be reasonable now. You sound like a reasonable lady. How would she prevent the tenant from beating you on a phone bill? Tell me. I want to learn something, because I've had tenants beat me. I want to know how you prevent it.
Because they were salesmen for the company.
I don't care what they were.
For.
It doesn't matter. How are you going to prevent that? I want to know.
Well, she was over the salespeople. She was over the salespeople.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. There's no way you could prevent that.
Okay.
It happens to the best of us.
Well, how can I better sell my property?
Well, the problem is that the property is probably sitting in the middle of an area that's not moving. Well, I got news for you. One thing that she told you to paint it, that made sense. I don't care what you want, that you don't want any more hassle. Yeah, an unpainted property does not sell in a down market. That's fact.
Well,
now, maybe she realizes you're recalcitrant and stubborn.
But did she have to lie about it?
Well, maybe she didn't lie.
No.
Now, hold it. If she didn't lie, would you paint the place? No, you told me at the beginning you didn't want to do that.
Well, I mean, this is none of her business. She's not, over this situation.
That may be, but maybe she's pragmatic. I'm just saying maybe.
Yeah.
You are a lady sitting there in Fort Thomas. You don't want any hassle, but you want your house sold. And I'm saying, unless you take care of the house and it's maintained, it's never going to sell. And you're going to be angry with her because she hasn't sold the place.
Okay.
When in fact, maybe one of the reasons it didn't sell was because you don't want to spend a little money.
No, I don't want to get involved in any more contracts or anything else because my husband, he's had 5 operations.
Honey, that has nothing to do with anything. I understand it's part of your...
If you were selling a house...
First thing I'd do is do all the cosmetic things. I would clean it up, have the shrubs, and paint it. You're asking me and that's only logical.
Cosmetic.
Sure, paint is cosmetic. And furthermore, Are you going to make any money in this condo?
Very little.
Well, the thing is that the paint comes off the top. Ordinarily it doesn't, but it does in this case because it's used to help the sale. Mm-hmm. Fact is, whether you like it or whether you don't, in today's marketplace, you got to do everything you can to facilitate a sale, and that certainly includes making it look good.
Okay, let's go to the house and talk about the house.
Very quickly.
The house is in a resort area again, so she has. I mean, there's locked gates out front. You know, people can't drive by and buy the house.
Yeah.
The house, she said, needs a roof, and this is what the appraiser told me. I had an appraiser. And in a couple of years, and she downgraded it. And she said, I rode somebody by the house, and they said,
my dear, she's probably right.
Yeah, but what am I paying her for?
That isn't the issue.
She's a salesman. Why? She's downgrading it.
No, sweetheart, you're wrong.
Oh.
You don't want to hear this.
No.
But she can't go out. Let me ask you. I'm going to put you on hold for a second, all right?
Okay.
Because I got to catch up here, but I'm going to ask you some questions I don't know if you're going to want to answer. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a lady in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. She's got a piece of property or two in Alabama. She's already upset with a real estate lady in Alabama because she's saying, hey, you got to paint your place. I can't sell it. It looks like an adjunct to the city dump. And then she's saying on the vacation property, she's saying the roof is really in not such good shape and potential customers don't want to buy it. Right?
Bruce?
Yeah.
If I entered into a contract with you saying...
Wait a minute. Hold it. I'm saying that's what she said. That's all and that's about the size of it. Is that not true?
Well, not quite that bad. I entered into this contract saying it's expedient that I sell this because of my husband's
What
health.
do you do for a living?
Because of my husband's
What do you
health.
do for... I understand. We went through that. What do you do for a living?
Oh, no.
What do you do for a living?
Because of my husband's health, I asked her to take this on. She lives next door to where we live.
Without regard to that, what do you do for a living?
I sell advertising.
Fine. You say, that's terrific.
Yes.
I walk into your office and say, I want you to guarantee that when I buy this space, time, or whatever, I will do so much business. Can you do that? If you can, honey, I'm going to put you on the pad here, but I know you cannot. You can't, can you? Furthermore, I want you to sell spots on my show for $25,000 a minute. I'm going to give you I'll give you 50% commission. No, wait a minute.
If you have a bad program and you say I want to sell it
I have a very good program.
No, I say if you want to sell it as is.
Yeah. Maybe
that's what they're going to buy.
That's not true. That's not true. There is time which can't be sold at all at any price, particularly if there is a whole bunch of time available. Now, in the case of resort property in the United States of America in 1990 fall, it is a glut on the market. Buyers are hard to find, and properties are as common as fleas on unwashed dogs. Now, if you want to sell property, it's got to be either at giveaway prices, and if you want to, how much are you asking for this place?
It's in a resort area.
How much?
$140,000.
Drop the price to 50.
In an area
Drop the price to 50.
For $200. No, come on.
But the point is, you don't want to listen to me, and I'm telling you where it's at, and you don't want to hear that.
Well,
that if the prices in that area,
I had an appraiser.
I don't care. Will the appraiser buy it?
He knows what the market is.
No, that's not true. That's not true. An appraisal is only.
How do you get an appraiser then?
An appraisal.
You're the one who talked about it.
An appraisal is an estimation of value.
Right. Well,
value is only established.
His appraisal was $119,000.
119.
Yeah.
And you're asking how much?
She told me that with the lot property and whatnot, I should go for $138,500.
Well, you're asking too much. That's for openers.
Well,
and second,
that's for openers.
You're tough. You're tough to talk around, baby, because you just don't shut up. Now I want you to listen for a second. The fact is, you don't want to hear this, but I'm doing this not for you, really, for your husband at this point. The fact is that in a down market, and you're in a down market, people are picky, and they're going to say, "I want a new roof." Now, you're going to say, "I'm not going to give it to you." Well, they'll say, "I can buy 10 houses in the neighborhood. I'm going to get a new roof from somebody else. I don't have to put up with this." And if I want a place that looks spiffy and painted.
She told me.
I don't care what she told you. I'm telling you the realities of the marketplace in 1990. You don't want to hear that, and I can understand and I can sympathize. You want to get your money out with the quickest possible way with no expense. Well, baby, it ain't that way. It might have been that way if you were selling this in '86.
Yeah.
But I'd give me a different answer. The real estate market was hot as a pistol, and what'd you pay for this place?
Oh, that's been 10 years.
What did you pay for it 10 years ago? Yeah. Well, it went up like crazy in the 80s, didn't it? Hot as a rocket. Well, I got news for you. The rocket is faltering. And there are more properties than there are buyers. Now, I don't care if it's advertising, popsicles, real estate, or whatever. When there's more product than there are buyers, you got to find a way to make it effective. Now, you're selling advertising, right?
Yes.
And if I walked in, what would you sell? Print electronics or what?
No.
What do you sell?
It's just a media here. Monthly media.
All right, fine. A magazine of some kind?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Splendid. And you got a prospect, right? And you're going to sell him a page for the sake of discussion.
Yes.
But I walk in and I got essentially the same distribution. And I say, listen, I'll give you the page at the same price and I'll bonus you too. Who's he going to do business with, me or you?
Well,
who is he going to do business with? Me. Well, the same thing is true with that house of yours, whether you like it or whether you don't.
Well, then
if there's 6 houses on a... Pardon me?
How can I handle her?
My dear, she's giving you good advice and you don't want to hear it.
Hey.
That's all.
She's giving me...
Hello there, Bruce. Thanks for taking my call. I have a question to ask you. I've been in touch with a publisher in Illinois. And this publisher publishes books like how to start a travel agency, how to start a restaurant, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of those guys around. How to start almost anything.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's one of them anyway.
There's a lot of these guys are desktop publishers.
Yeah, I know.
They have a maybe I don't know if you do know.
Yeah.
I don't think that matter of fact, I'm willing to bet you don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't know.
Well, what they do is they buy a computer program that has 10 million how to do things. Then they advertise it, and then you answer, and they poke up how to start a restaurant, how to start a brothel, how to start a dog, whatever it happens to be. And then they publish it on their computer, and they sell it to you for $50 or $100.
Yeah, I understand his cheapest book is $40.
Well, but do you understand how a lot of times how these are... I'm not telling you this guy, but that's at least one way it's done.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if I want to investigate him, I can investigate him, but...
For $40, it doesn't pay.
Yeah, well, look, let me get to my question here. He is hungry for names. He wants to send out a lot of brochures and catalogs to people.
For what purpose?
Well, because he wants them to buy their books. And that's why he wants the names. Now, the way in which he wants to do this is he wants me to advertise... wait a minute,
And he'll pay you so much for each name that responds.
That's right.
How old are you?
I am 59.
Well, when you were a child, this was old.
I would imagine so.
The same scheme was old when you were a child.
I would.
It's just another permutation of stuffed envelopes.
I know.
Well, no, I don't. Seriously, you keep saying you know, but I don't want to see you throw your money away. You don't know.
Now wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
Go ahead.
I haven't given. He wants $48 for upfront money.
How many ways do I tell you?
Yeah.
That this has got whiskers on it.
I know.
It's just another. Well, then why would you even consider it?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get to my question here, and you tell me if you think I should do it or not.
No, you shouldn't do it. Now get to your question.
What he suggested newspaper advertising.
Well, I'm trying to look. What's your first name?
Ben.
Ben, I don't mean to be impatient, but you're trying my patience. What I'm telling you, Ben, is that what he is doing is just another permutation of a scam that's been around for at least 50 years.
Yeah.
He tells you he will buy every name. First of all, he charges you money up front just to get into this big thing, right?
Yeah, but...
And hold it.
Wait a minute.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Can you listen for a minute?
I'll listen, yeah.
And then he says to you, here's what you do. You run ads, and he'll even give you the ads in different newspapers. And every guy that responds to your ad, he will buy from you for so many dollars or whatever.
Yeah, 50 cents a name.
Yeah. Now, Ben, that has sucker written on it, B-E-N, spelled sucker.
I see. So you think I got to drop the whole thing?
No, Ben, I think you ought to leap in and get all your friends. Of course I do, Ben. I mean, it's just a classic, old-fashioned sucker game that's been around for 10 million years. And I can give you 14 permutations of the thing. Have you seen the ad stuff? Matter of fact, what did the ad say that you answered? Because I know you answered an advertisement, and it was probably in something like the National Enquirer.
No, he got my name from somebody.
Oh, then you've been answering ads someplace, Ben.
And, well, the thing is, I must be on about 100 different mailing lists.
Well, how did you get on those lists?
I don't know.
I do. You answered some advertisements.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Well, not probably, Ben. Let me hear you say it. I answered a bunch of advertisements.
Yeah.
And you're on sucker lists.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
No. Why do you keep qualifying it, Ben?
So
You're on sucker lists. That's not a disgrace, so am I.
Well, I can fill out a form in the post office, and they will notify a number of these mailers not to...
Well, what do you care? Just throw it in the trash. What do you care?
Well, that's what I do.
Well, then you didn't throw this one in the trash, though.
Yeah. I tell you what I was going to ask you, but I think I've already got the answer. He claims that there's a newspaper in Boston that has an 800,000 circulation on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It would cost me $60 to run the ad.
Yep.
He claims I could get about a 1% response.
You kiss, huh? Not on your best day ever.
That's impossible.
Not on your best day, Ben. Let me ask you a question, Ben.
Yeah.
If you can get a 1% response, why can't he get a 1% response? And if so, what's he got to cut you in for?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I've been asking that question myself.
Well, it doesn't require a road scholar or a rocket scientist to figure it out.
That's true.
You cannot. What's 1% of 800,000, Ben?
800. Well, 1% is 800.
Pardon?
1% of 800,000.
No, is 8,000, Charlie, not 800. 1/10 of 1% is 800. 1% is 8,000. 10% is 80,000. 100% 800,000. Right?
I see. Yeah.
Is that not right? Or maybe I'm wrong. I'll hold this to. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
800,000. 80,000 is 10%. Right?
Right.
8,000 is 1%. I am right.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. If you got 1/10 of 1% or 800, you'd be in tall cotton. But you're not going to get that either.
You won't get even a 10th of 1%.
No, sir. Not on your best day.
I see.
Ben, this stuff is around. I'm just looking through the trash here. Some people keep sending me stuff, and I'm very delighted, but I have a lot of this is redundant. Here we go. 95% will throw this away. The other 5% will become rich. You're about to make at least $50,000 in less than 90 days in the comfort of your own home. Hey, shall I send this one to you, Ben?
Yeah, I see. Well, okay, you've given me some good advice.
The advice is forget it, kid.
And, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care, Ben.
Thanks for talking to me.
All right. I'm hard on the guy. Better I'm hard on him, and he sends off his $48. Then he spends $60 for the ad, and then he sits there and wonders why he doesn't get 8,000 replies. 8,000. Hard to believe. What did P.T. Barnum have to say about that? I mean, really, just ask yourself, if these deals are so good, what do they need you for? I got a feeling, I think he's probably at the Boston Globe, probably. I got a suspicion that the Globe would take this guy $60 and he could run the ad. Me and the originator of this little scheme. I'll tell you. But, they prey on people, and that is probably the tragedy. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. See, the problem with my previous caller, and I apologize if I get on his case, but I don't mind that, because hopefully maybe somebody along the party line will say, hey, I'm not going to spend my money that way. He wants to believe. He wants to believe he's chosen, but he doesn't even do the arithmetic. Think about that. You could bet reasonably that 1% of the entire newspaper circulation will not even read any given classified ad. Not even read it. If you got 1% of the circulation to read a classified, I would be very much amazed. Even display ads, if you got a significant percentage to read it, because people skip to the papers. Think of your own reading habits. But then, to think that you're going to get 1% of people to send in money or be interested in something, it's just not going to happen. To a classified, maybe to a full-page ad offering something fantastic, maybe. But ask yourself, why would these entrepreneurial types cut you in if it was so easy? Just ask yourself that ordinary question, and I think you come up with a reasonable answer. Mornings, but he's blinded by the fact that I've been selected. Morningside, Maryland. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce. I enjoy your your show every night.
Aren't you sweet? What's on your mind?
Well, my problem is I own 2 homes. And
that's a problem? I wish I had the problem.
No, it is a problem. One home I own clear, and the other home I have a mortgage of $120,000. Okay? And my son likes to purchase the one that I own clear and free.
And how much is the $120,000 you said?
I live in that one. Yes, at a mortgage of $120,000.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. And my son lives in the other home that is free and clear, and he's lived there ever since he's 3 years old.
Uh-huh.
He will not move.
What do you mean he won't move?
He just won't move.
What do you mean? How old is this guy?
33.
He won't move?
Right. He lives there and he won't move. So my problem is...
You gotta be kidding me.
I know. And I only make $10 an hour, and I can barely make my mortgage.
And how much? Wait a minute. Let's back up, because you own a house free and clear. It's worth how much?
Oh well, if we put it in the market and hold it for a year,
well, wait a minute.
$325,000.
How much is it worth if you wanted to sell it?
But if I want to sell it tomorrow, it's $250,000.
Well, that's the price then. It ain't worth $325. It's worth $250.
Right.
How do you know what's going to happen a year from now? You got a crystal ball?
No, what I'm saying is everybody around the area's got their houses up for $325, but
they aren't selling.
They're not selling.
All right, so you got a $250,000 house.
Right.
Free and clear.
Free and clear.
All right, that's where the kid is?
That's where my baby is.
Oh, your baby, nothing. That's where your parasite is?
My baby. So anyway...
Hold the phone now. I just want to try to reconstruct things here.
Okay.
In today's rather low-interest world, how old are you?
I'm 55.
No, it's important because of the tax considerations.
I know, I'm 55.
Well, fine, you make the 50, that's the threshold.
Right.
Now, was that home your home for the last 3 or 5 years or not?
No, I haven't lived there for 8 years since my husband died.
Well, then forget about it. You lost the tax exemption.
Right.
What did you pay for that house?
I paid $20,000.
Wow. So you got a $250,000 profit, close to it. $200,000.
No, they said that since my husband died, they said I have when he died it was $150,000. That's what they say.
The base is $150 then?
Right.
So then you got a profit of $100. You're going to pay $30,000 in taxes.
Right.
So you'll walk out of there with about $200,000 after the real estate commissions and all the rest of it are paid.
Right.
$200,000, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, the $200,000 is only going to earn about $11,000 a year right now.
Right, but I'm tired of working. I work 6 days a week to make my mortgage.
I don't blame you for being tired. But what are you going to do about this parasitical son? Is he paying rent?
Well, not really. I'm trying to help him so he'd save some money.
Wait a minute. I have kids and I love them, but cut me a break.
I know, but then they always make you feel guilty.
You throw him right on his butt.
I'm the rotten one. I'm the no good mom. And how
is
could
that
I be
what
so
he
greedy?
says?
That's what they say.
Is this guy married?
Right.
And how much does he earn a year?
I don't really know, but he also inherited a lot of money because my husband's sister died, and he got over $100,000.
And he still has
got
that?
My husband's insurance, and he got all that.
How did he get all that? How did he get all that?
They gave it to him.
Who gave it to him?
My husband.
He left it to him, not to you?
Right. He said I could be able to take care of myself, which I can't. I'm getting pretty, I'm tired.
Is this kid in any way emotionally, or is he handicapped in some way?
No.
Then why did your husband do such a dumb thing?
Because he felt sorry for the baby.
Well, that's partly your fault. You're calling the baby. Let's start calling the parasite.
Okay.
The parasite.
Bruce, I agree with you.
I'd throw his tail out in the street. I'm going to use a stronger word. Well, I could.
Well, anyway, what I want to do is sell the house to my son. He wants to buy the house. Okay? Now, I thought if I could carry... I don't know how to go by. I said, okay.
How much does this kid make?
I really don't know.
Well, you can't talk about... First of all, you are not... If you have any respect for my point of view, you will not sell it to him and carry the mortgage because he'll stiff you.
Well, the thing is, I thought I'd take a second of
no.
Which I know I'll never do.
No, and no.
No, I know.
No, because he's making a fool of you.
Right.
You're 55. You're a young woman.
No, he says I'm an old woman and I should be retired, but I can't retire until I have some money.
I would tell this ungrateful little you-know-what to get his butt out of my property, and I'd go to court to get him thrown out.
You think so?
Yes, ma'am. I certainly would. He's ungrateful. He is unfeeling. He's sticking it to his mother. He got more money in inheritance than he should have received.
Well, he spent it all. He spent it on new cars.
If he had any character, whatever, he'd have given you that money and said, Mom, this isn't for me. This should have gone to you. He has no character, whatever.
Well, he's very hurt because his dad didn't leave him the house.
Well, you could tell him that from where I'm sitting, there are 3 nice little letters that apply to him. Now, if you have... Do you have any other children?
Yeah, I have a daughter that just moved in with me with her 3 kids.
Boy, you have...
I know. I'm a big, ass sucker.
Yeah, you got that right. I got to turn you loose, sweetheart. If it were me, I'm telling you very serious now, okay?
Yeah.
I would tell this kid you're out.
But, there's no other way to go and sell him the house.
No, ma'am, because if he can go out and get a mortgage and come up with $250,000 in cash, fine.
But not to give it to him halfway.
Absolutely. He'll stick you for it.
Well, I know that.
Well, then what are you being a fool for? Well, if you want to be a fool, no one can save you from that. But let me leave you the thought. You do him no kindness. All you do is perpetuate his immaturity, his insensitivity. I would throw him out tomorrow. I really would. Clearly, the kid isn't altogether to blame because his father and his mother certainly made a lot of mistakes. The baby. He'll be a baby when he's 70 if you allow him to be. Out he would go. But don't mention names, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You went someplace.
Okay. I received a large portfolio of stock.
Portfolio of... Oh, you went and purchased some stock?
No, they were given to me.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to pay taxes on it because I'm on Social Security.
What has that got to do with anything?
Well, I put the money in several different aliases.
Well, that's illegal.
Right.
You're a crook.
Well, I was told in order to get this money back, I'm going to have to get a not-for-profit organization.
Oh, cut me a break. Why don't you just pay the taxes like the rest of us? How much money's involved here?
I'm only going to try to get back about $5 million.
And you don't want to pay any taxes?
Right.
Oh, you poor baby.
But
How do you look in stripes?
I've been there.
Well, you may be back. I mean, you're not... If you're talking about stealing big-time money, pal. What are you talking about, inheritance taxes you don't want to pay? Is that it?
Right.
Well, what makes you different from the rest of us unwashed?
Because somehow there must be a legal way of doing it.
Well, but you're looking for the illegal way, using aliases and all that sort of thing. There may be it's perfectly legal, proper, and desirable to avoid paying taxes. It is illegal, improper, and a crime to evade taxes. Now, what you're trying to do is evade.
Okay, but my executive has come up with a way. If I get a corporate resolution, a corporate structure and bylaws, a tax ID, a contact person, address, and phone number, I can get all this money back in the...
Again. I don't want to talk to this. Just cut this sucker off. You got to be kidding me. You're trying to steal? You're going to try to make me feel sad. Help you? You got to be kidding me. Let's take a time out. I'm Bruce Wiggins. You got to be kidding. This is Talknet. Son of a gun. Guys like that last one frustrate me. Now, there's nothing improper about trying to avoid taxes. But here he is. He inherited a ton of money. And I can understand not wanting to give a ton to the government. But I want to keep it all. And I'm going to do it by aliases and all that sort of thing. Cut me a break. All righty, we got a Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi there. Hola, senor.
What?
Hola, senor.
Hola,
that means hi in Spanish.
Oh, a little Spanish lingo, huh?
Spinach here and there. Well, let's get down to brass tacks, Bruce.
All right, brass tacks it is. What's up?
I want to open a lady of the evening house. You know, it's a brothel or the house of prostitution, et cetera, et cetera.
A bordello? You want to become a madam, huh?
I am a madam. I'm a madam.
Are you putting me on?
No, I am not putting you on. I was left about $50,000, and someone said to me, "You'd make a great madam." So I thought, well, why not try it? But I need a little help. How do I go about it?
Well, first of all, do you want to do it legally or illegally?
Well, it has to be illegal.
No, it doesn't. It's perfectly legal in some counties in Nevada.
Yeah, but not here. I know all about. I've been in Las Vegas.
No, it's not legal in Las Vegas.
It isn't?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll take your word.
Well, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm telling you, it is not legal in Las Vegas.
All right.
It is legal in some counties in Nevada.
Oh, I get you.
It's legal about 70 miles thereabouts outside of Las Vegas. It is legal outside of Reno.
Uh-huh.
It is not legal in Las Vegas. There's too much...
All right, I accept it. We don't have to argue about it.
Okay, so you can go to Mexico. It's legal in parts of... Or maybe it isn't legal, but it's certainly so ubiquitous, nobody seems to bother. But it is certainly not legal in Michigan.
No, I wish it should have been. If they had been smart, the government would have...
Well, that's another matter. We're not going to argue the smartness or morality of hooking. I mean, if you want to open a whorehouse, that's what we're talking about, go for it. I mean, that's up to you. You're liable to get busted. Ask Sydney...
the police know me.
They may know you, but ask Sydney, what's her face?
They'd let me off.
You think so, huh?
I pay them some of the profits.
Oh, you're going to corrupt the local police, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure.
Corrupt. You don't have to do it to them.
Well, that's another program now. So what do you want from me?
How can I do? What do I get? A big house? Ada is a real nice place. That's a nice suburb off of Grand Rapids.
I don't think you're going to be too welcome in the neighborhood, kid.
With Amway's down there.
Well, what does that got?
Well, there's money.
Well, there may be money, honey. There's money a lot of places. There's money, and there's plenty of people like to gamble, but that doesn't mean you can open up a gambling saloon just any place you want to.
You know where there's money these days?
Where's that?
In your pockets. You're quite popular.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I must tell you, I'm not going to be one of your customers.
Listen, just come the first night.
I'm preserving my amateur status. Thank you very much. Good luck, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, you know, I've watched, I went to the play, The Greatest Little You-Know-What in Texas, and so on and so forth. What the heck? Bruce Williams, they're out there, kids. This is Talknet.
1-800-743-8000.
All righty, we go to Pittsburgh, PA, the Berg. Hello there.
Oh, hi, how are you?
I am very well, thank you.
You have a very interesting show. I had heard it one evening in the summer, and I was half sleeping when I told my husband about it and tried to find out about it. He thought I had been dreaming.
Well,
I finally did track you down.
Well, I'm delighted that you did. What's on your mind?
I have a challenge. I'm feeling like a second-class citizen.
Oh?
Other than being a citizen of the United States and the workforce, I completed a degree, but never got the actual degree status.
Why?
I had a thesis professor who would lose papers, not show up for the interviews and the sessions, and would take off when the bell rang, kind of thing. And I called about it and tried to get him to follow through with his responsibilities, and another professor went out of town. But it ended up, by the time I got any kind of attention from the administration, they called to tell me that the program was closing in 2 weeks.
How long ago was this?
This was in April.
Of this year?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm stuck with student loans, bad credit.
No, whoa.
I can
Slow
get my
down.
transcripts.
Slow down.
Yet I haven't obtained
Slow down. How do we go from that point to stuck with student loans and whatever?
Well, I had 3 job offers, but because I couldn't get the transcripts to show the degree, I could not obtain those jobs.
You were denied. You were denied the job because of their mistake.
Well, because I didn't have the credentials, which would have been my graduation and the.
And you were not graduated.
No.
And the reason you weren't graduated was because somebody didn't get the grades down to the office in time?
Well, it was the last thesis project and another independent study, correct? And the program was closed by the state, not this state, another state.
What do you mean the program was closed?
The state closed the program. They no longer accredit it at the university.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Is the university lost its accreditation, or
in that department?
Only that department.
Right.
What kind of a department?
It was under education, although I was doing computers in education and multimedia. I had most.
Now, you're telling me, this is a private or a public institution?
Public.
That you completed all of the coursework.
Right.
You were there it's a 4-year program.
Right.
But they denied you your degree status because somebody failed to.
Well, it was a master's degree. And the thesis chair just didn't respond to the meetings, lost papers, the whole process. And by the time I did get attention, after going from his level to his supervisor to the chancellor of the school to the state Department of Education.
What do they all say?
They just kept on passing it down to the next person, which then got passed to me.
And then what?
Then the program was closed.
Well, without regard to that, they can still confer the degree.
No, because the thesis wasn't completed under him. It wasn't done in time. He didn't correct it.
Can you transfer these credits to another school?
That's what I considered. But there again, they will not release my transcripts.
And for what reason will they not release the transcript?
Well, they're saying now I owe loans on it. So it's become another problem.
Have you discussed this with an attorney?
I had written to a couple of attorneys.
Have you discussed this with an attorney?
I haven't really found one because the ones I contacted under education law were for the institutions. There were none.
There's got to be. Look, you go to the local bar association, that community where that school is located, I will promise you, they can refer you to a half a dozen attorneys that would take this kind of a matter.
Well, even the
that's what you're going to have to do, unfortunately. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce for Talknet. All righty, let's see what's cooking in Venice, Florida. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks
Hi.
for taking my call.
Well, you're very welcome.
I am going on my first cruise.
Good.
1 week before you are.
Well, why aren't you going with me, you rascal?
Well, we had already signed up for this one.
That's terrible. Should have canceled, but go ahead.
Yeah. But anyways, I'll tell you how it is when I get back. You'll be leaving
It won't be as good as mine.
Yeah,
It will not be as good as mine.
You don't think so?
No,
well,
no way.
Won't be there.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, as I said, it's my first cruise, and my roommate has been on a number and seems to feel she knows all about it.
Uh-huh.
We have been assigned a room down on B deck, about 150 feet from the front bow.
All right.
She said there's going to be a tremendous amount of motion there.
I don't think so.
And she wants to request a room that another member of our group wants to give up.
Well, it's fine. I mean, if you want to get closer to midships, I'm not going to argue with that.
Well, this is really my question. It's the one she wants to try to get is on the navigation deck.
Well, first of all, this navigation deck doesn't mean a thing to me because each ship will call whatever deck they can call the Lido deck, and what it doesn't mean anything.
Okay, it backs up to an elevator. It's beside a staff room, and beyond it is the wireless office.
So what? Let me ask you a question. How old are you?
63.
All right, what I'm trying to get to is how much time are you going to spend in your room? Most people are going to be out and about and doing things. All you use the room for is a place for a pit stop.
Okay, and sleep once in a while.
And get a little sack time, that's right.
Does the room that I described to you next to the elevator, the staff room, the wireless office, sound like it might be awfully busy?
It's going to be a little bit busier. Certainly there's going to be some action.
Yeah.
That wouldn't distress me, nor would the one that you mentioned, because you don't have, it's not like a World War II movie with a destroyer out there chasing the German submarine. They're not plowing through the waves up and down and whatever. They seek out placid water. They have stabilizers in them and so forth. And there's just not that much pitching unless the weather is really, really bad. And then you're going to get it no matter where you go.
Right. So that first room I mentioned near the bow wouldn't be...
Wouldn't distress me.
Okay. Well...
Either way, just go have a great time.
Well, that's...
Not as good a time as you'd have had if you gone with me, but, well, you know, poor judgment. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I know. I'll have to wait for your next one.
There you go.
Okay?
Have a super trip, honey.
Thanks a lot.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. Oh, by the way, if you're going to go on a cruise, unless you're loaded with money, it doesn't really matter about where your cabin is. Yeah, take the less expensive one. You're not going to spend a lot of time there anyway, in most cases. This is Talknet. Let's go to Silver Spring, Maryland, and see what's cooking. Silver Spring, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Hello, Rascal. Let's get it on.
I've been listening to you for quite some time, and I'm glad I got through to you.
Well, me too. What's up, kid?
I'm 34 years old, and I'm a little frustrated here. I went to college for like a year, and then I left and went to the Marine Corps, and I came back out, and I have some hotel background. But while I was in the
hotel background, what does that mean?
Front desk.
Okay.
You know how to operate the front desk procedures. Well, I've been passed over quite a lot because I haven't had a 4-year degree.
That's going to happen to you the rest of your life.
Right. No, I'm asking you this. I have a relative who deals with computers, and I have some drafting experience. I asked her what would be a good idea. She said to go back to school and do computer science with emphasis in drafting.
Well, I can't tell you what your major ought to be.
Right.
But you clearly ought to consider going back to school.
Right. My question to you is, at this age,
you're how old now?
34.
Let me ask you, when are you going to be 33?
I'm sorry?
When are you going to be 32? Make it that.
When I'm going to be 32?
Yeah.
Never. I'm 34.
But I want to know when you're going to be 32.
I won't be 32 again.
That's exactly right. So you can never go back to 32, can you?
Right.
You're 34.
Right.
But you got a long life ahead of you, don't you?
Yeah.
Hopefully. And you're going to be carrying around this big rock all your life, no education.
Right.
Well, why don't you cure that problem and get the education?
Okay. Considering that I'll be finishing in 4 years' time.
You can do it in 3, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, what are my chances of getting involved in other businesses?
A lot better than they are now.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, employers require people to have education of some sort because it's a practical proposition. For the same amount of money they can pay somebody who is uneducated, they get somebody who's educated. Now, from their point of view, what would you do?
Well, based on
No, hold it. You got a choice between two guys.
Yeah.
They're equal in every way except one guy has a good education, the other guy doesn't. Who are you going to hire?
I guess the guy with education.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's the end of that story.
So, I was on the dean's list for a whole year, and I'm thinking of transferring my credits to another school. Do you think that'll help?
Well, if you can get credit for it, fine.
Right.
I mean, why throw away a year?
Yeah.
But the point is, you don't want to hear this. I didn't want to hear it when I was in your position. I was a little younger, but still, married and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You gotta have the education.
Because I the people that they hire over me, I used to train them.
That may be, and you're going to find you're doing that all your life.
Yeah.
You've got to pay your dues, kid.
That's true.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Columbus, Ohio. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you.
That's good. I wanted to thank you for a piece of advice you gave to a caller a few months back about consumer credit and getting in over your head. Well, I basically was in the same position, but not nearly as bad. About $2,400 was the whole total. So anyway, I got one out, got a second job, and I'm working 20 extra hours a week doing that, doing warehouse work and on top of my other job. Now, what had happened was when I was, pretty far into the ball, I started giving in late payments and just meeting the minimum and, playing that game for a while.
That's a very big warning sign. You just pay the minimum.
Right. Anyway, what I'm calling to ask is it more advisable to get a consumer credit loan, pay off all the bills?
What do you mean a consumer credit loan? What is that? I'm not sure what that is even.
Well, it's a loan that I can pay off all of my existing credit cards.
You mean a consolidation loan, you mean?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Or
just, continue to pay it as I am now, rather than,
Well, that depends in some measure on what the interest rates are involved.
There'd be a slight reduction in the interest rate. I think I could get a debt consolidation loan for like 15%. Most of my credit cards are like around 18 to 19.
How much do you owe right now?
Let's see, last month probably 19.
I don't think I'd even bother. I just work harder and get it paid off quicker.
Okay.
The difference in the interest rate at 4% on $1,000 is $40.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about hopefully you can get this done in a year. We're talking about $80.
Yeah.
In difference over the course of a year, maxed out. Mm-hmm. More trouble than it's worth.
Right. Okay. Well, my concern was if I could get my credit repaired faster.
Your credit's not going to repair any faster, other than paying off the obligations. Mm-hmm. Just pay off the debt.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
Thanks, Bruce.
All righty, where are we going from here? We've been in Silver Spring, Columbia, Milford, Connecticut's on the hit list. A lot of highlight goes on up there, right, Milford?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, fellows, the Basques throwing the ball against the wall. What's on your mind?
I'm an absentee landowner down in Florida.
Owner or lord?
Owner.
Nobody's renting it from you?
Yeah, they are right now.
Well, then you're an absentee landlord.
Excuse me.
All right.
And my property was hit through that series of tornadoes over in Pinellas County.
Yes, right down below me.
Right. And so I was asking your advice as far as dealing with a general contractor to make the repairs, sort of things to look out for.
You going to go down and do it yourself?
No.
Why? Who's going to do it for you?
Hire a general contractor down there.
You're going to do that from where you are now?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? I'd be hard-pressed to be able to do that.
I've got a property manager down there, and she's going to, go out and get 3.
I'm just kind of curious. How much money's involved here?
About $15,000.
And you're where right now?
Milford, Connecticut.
I would say that you could probably buy yourself a 14-day ticket for about $275 to $300.
Okay.
Wouldn't it make sense to go down and deal with these guys direct?
But, I just don't have the experience dealing with them, so I don't...
Well, you're not going to get it any younger.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't let somebody else do it for me. I might have them along for the ride. What makes you believe that this woman you have down there has this competency?
Experience in the area.
What has that got to do with anything? How many hurricanes, how many contractors has she dealt with?
Well, I'm sort of, wondering what... I don't have experience either as far as contracts.
I mean, how old are you?
54.
What do you do for a living?
Financial analyst.
Well, you clearly have the intellect that should be capable of sitting down with these guys, finding out what has to be done, and going over their bids. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to believe you're capable of doing that. Now, I would not try to do that from Connecticut. I mean, I go back and forth on a weekly basis. I can't believe it's going to put so much strain on you to get down from Milford. You probably got to go to Hartford, down to Newark, down to Tampa. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
4 hours. You do it on a weekend.
Is there anything I should look for as far as...
Well, certainly you're going to look for a guy who's licensed to begin with.
Right.
One who can provide you with an insurance certificate so that you know his employees are insured for workers' compensation, all the other attendant... legitimate things that legitimate contractors have put up with, which means it's going to cost you more money. Mm-hmm. The guy who works out of his garage will do it for less, theoretically, anyway.
Right.
You want to be certain that their plans, if they're required, and they should be by the local code enforcement officer, then they comply with the local building codes. You want to be certain that the materials comply with the local building codes. You want to check his credentials, see if he's solid financially. You do that by stopping in at his bank. You notice I said stopping in at his bank. I didn't say call him on a telephone. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you just like throwing $15,000 around like it was confetti.
Not particularly.
That's why you belong you should be on the spot. Take a couple vacation days and go down.
Okay, thanks for the advice.
I mean, it's just there are just some things one can do long range. Now, if you're willing to delegate the whole thing to this lady, be my guest.
Uh-huh.
But I'd have to know an awful lot about her credentials before I do that.
All righty.
I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet.
Talknet. 1-800-743-8000.
Atlanta, GA. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Chris. I'm calling from Atlanta. I have two questions for you.
Yes, Chris.
The first one concerns an outfit that I have come across. I've attended one of their seminars. And what their function is, if you join up with them and pay into a lifelong membership, they will assist you with advice as far as investing goes, tax strategies, getting your finances in order, and accumulating more profit than you would normally be able to. And I was wondering whether or not you know anything about it, or if this is just another scam, so to speak.
Well, so to speak, I'm not going to label it a scam. I thought I'd like put the question another way. Would I spend my money that way? And the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would not. Would I, if I felt that I needed advice, I would go to a financial advisor, one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
I might go to a seminar to see what someone has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're talking about, for the most part, are not seminars, they are pitches. And I have no quarrel with that. I have no quarrel with them pitching.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't swing, that's all.
Okay. Well, what I found attractive about them, that they have, several things combined in one in one package. There are taxes, and then there are investments, and there's insurance.
I understand all that. You're asking me. You asked me what I called a scam, and I said no.
Mm-hmm.
But I also said it wouldn't be for me. Now there's not much more that can be said.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have been taken by it, and if you want to go for it, that's your business.
Mm-hmm.
All I can tell you is my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think there's an awful lot of smoke and not much substance.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My next question concerns employment, and I'm wondering what the law is if a company wants to terminate someone.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do they have to inform you? Can they bring in someone else and have you?
First of all, there's some states that are right-to-work states. Some states are right-to-fire states.
Mm-hmm.
Some states you serve at your employer's pleasure. On balance, they don't have to tell you ahead of time if they want to fire you. You can walk in at, well, it's 4 o'clock, don't come back Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I understand. But can they do it while they actually bring someone in first and have you train that person, and then
Why not?
they tell you?
Are you getting paid?
Pardon me?
Were you getting paid for that time?
Well, yes, of course they would pay you.
Well, then, of course they can do it then.
Well, okay, yeah.
That's not what you wanted to hear.
I find it unfair for you to train that person, and then they.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now, we never said anything about fairness, did we?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Well, I know you did. I never said it was fair or unfair.
Uh-huh.
But how about the other side of the coin? When the employee walks in at 4 o'clock and says, "I'm gone tonight, I won't be back."
Uh-huh.
Is that fair?
I don't know. Can you do that?
Of course you can. You don't have any chains on your legs.
Mm-hmm.
You can call your boss tomorrow morning, not show up,
mm-hmm.
unless you sign some kind of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You can call up and not show up tomorrow. You don't have to give them 1 hour's notice.
All right, but then you are quitting and you lose your right to unemployment.
That's not an issue here.
Well, that comes into play.
Yeah, but the issue is that you are not obliged to work for someone 1 hour that you don't want to work for them.
Mm-hmm.
You can quit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's your right. You may give up unemployment and some other but that's a whole different matter. It has nothing to do with anything.
Mm-hmm.
You have a right to quit, is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
They have a right to fire you. Now, there is a lot of sympathy in the part of the courts for firing people for the wrong reasons. And employers are a little bit careful about that.
Well, as long as they don't discriminate, race, sex, color, etc., they, from what I understand, they can fire you for no reason at all. They don't
have to have a reason.
I'm sorry?
They don't have to have a reason.
Yes, I agree with that.
Now, the reason, there are some reasons that would preclude you from collecting unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
Theft, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, you can collect unemployment immediately. If you resign, then you are precluded for a time from collecting unemployment. I mean, these are all variables that you got to deal with. But as a practical proposition, it seems to me if it can go one way, it should be able to go the other. And I don't think anybody would support the position that you'd have to give an employer a certain amount of notice. Would you?
Well, I always have.
As have I. But I said, would you support a law that said you have to? I think very few people would. You know, those things are really rotten at work. You know, the boss is really making your life miserable. You're not sleeping at night. Should you have to put up with 2 weeks of that just so you can give him notice? I would think not. On the other side of that, you're a lousy employee that's not doing a job. I'm unhappy. I don't like you. You don't wear the right perfume. Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
Do I have to put up with you? Probably not. It's a very difficult area. And then, of course, we get involved in sexual harassment and all kinds of outlets, things that were, some guy or some woman, can be both ways, tells a relatively harmless joke, and everybody laughs, but then a year later it became harassment because you get canned.
Yeah.
I do wish you well, dear.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Des Moines, Iowa, thank you for joining us. What's on your mind?
I've got a question for you. I am thinking about becoming a landlord.
Okay.
And looking at a particular property to buy, just need a little advice on what you think or what your opinion of it might be.
Let's talk.
Okay. It has 21 units. It's actually 2 separate buildings beside each other. The owner wants to sell it on contract.
I wouldn't buy it.
Wouldn't buy it?
No, sir.
Okay.
Right there. You must know, if you've listened to me at all, that I am not at all enthusiastic about contract for deed. Because there's little protection for you as the buyer. He wants to sell it. He's not selling it. You are buying a piece of paper, but you have no real estate.
Right.
He owns the real estate.
Right.
Now, why does he want to do that?
I believe he can make a lot of money off of it. Or a lot of profit for him.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, I called and got the assessed value on the property and also found
Assessed value has nothing to do with anything. Forget it.
Okay.
How about an appraised value?
I don't have an appraised value. I do know what he paid for it and what he...
That has nothing to do with anything either.
Okay.
We're talking about value to you. You see, do you know what a contract for deed is?
No.
Truly, you don't know?
Contract for deed?
That's what you're talking about. He wants to sell it to you on a contract for deed.
Right. As soon as it's paid off, I get the deed to the land.
Yeah, but all the time it's not paid off, if he gets in trouble with IRS, they'll step right in front of you.
Oh.
And you get wiped out. How's that sound?
Not good.
Not good at all. Now, he wants to sell it, and he wants to carry the paper. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, fine. You tell him you want a fee simple deal.
Okay.
In other words, you want the property in your name. He gets a mortgage just like any other lender would get.
Right.
No more, no less. Now, how much is the building that he want for that building?
He wants $125,000 for it.
And how much? There's 21 apartments. What's the monthly or annual rent roll?
The gross is about $5,000 per month.
$60,000 a year.
Correct.
I got news for you. That's a hell of a buy. If everything holds up, if the expenses are anything like in line, that's a tremendous deal for your side.
Well,
it's probably a crummy neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not the best. I'm not sure which way to go. If I should try to get to a better neighborhood or look at something.
Well, I got news for you. $125,000, right?
Right.
Let's talk about it. How much are the taxes?
Taxes a year, $2,780.
$3,000.
Right.
How much is the insurance?
Well, I figured this all up together. Taxes, utilities, garbage, and insurance run about $1,500 per month.
That much?
Yes.
18,000?
That's
something wrong there.
That's according to him.
You're providing. Will you provide all the utilities for the tenants?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's $18,000.
Right.
And you got to figure certainly $10,000 a year or close to it for maintenance.
I would assume that'd be close.
That's 28. Another $2,000 for who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30. You're still getting $30,000 on $100 a quarter. Does that sound like a bad deal?
No.
Get your money back in 4 years.
Right.
That sounds like a hell of a deal to me.
Yeah, this is the first step for me. So I
Now, what is the interest rate he wants to charge?
He wants 10% and paid in 10 years.
All right, that's not a big pay. He paid a lot quicker than that.
Right.
All right, 10% interest is going to cut that 20 into. If you put no money down, it's going to cut it down to still 20-odd thousand a year. Your end. That makes the assumption the place is always rented. Is it usually rented?
Right now, there's just 2 units vacant.
Well, I mean just 2. Just 2 is 10%. That's a high vacancy factor. That cuts into that 60 grand that you mentioned. But still, other things being equal, if all those numbers hold up, it is not a bad deal. But I certainly wouldn't want to go into a contract for deed. I want it to be a fee simple, F-E-E, simple deal. If he doesn't know what that is, have somebody explain it to him. I do wish you well. Thanks for the hour, kids. I'm Bruce Williams. DeWitt, Michigan, it's your turn on Talknet. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Guy. What's on your mind?
Well, a couple things. First of all, last night you were talking to a fellow about him taking delivery of an automobile before he had a contract signed.
Before he had the financing in place, there's a difference. Yes, it happens regularly, apparently, and it's always baffled me as to how and why.
Right, you said that. I used to work at a dealership. We used to do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
You look at the credit statement from the fella, if you knew him or if he looked like a decent enough fellow and his credit statement looked good, we'd deliver him all the time.
What'd you do with a car when they came back when you couldn't get credit? See, what happens seems frequently is the dealer will call the next day, well, you got to come up with more money, the bank won't finance you without more money down, and all that sort of stuff.
We never ran into that problem. We never did. You know how many cars we repossessed in that time?
Well, not repossessed, but all right, go ahead, how many?
0.
Well,
never took one back because we had a financial problem.
Very much the exception would appear. I mean, I get enough complaint. We don't put them all in the air, clearly.
Yeah.
But we have a number of... The biggest thing that I hear is they'll call next day, well, look, you got to come up with an extra $1,000 or $500, and sometimes people just don't have it.
Yeah, I never ran into that problem.
Interesting. Okay.
But my question is, a couple years ago, we bought a new automobile and financed it, and the percentage rate at the time was about 11%. And there were no incentives. There were no financial or rebate incentives going along with it. So we went ahead and bought it, and now, obviously, interest rates have dropped. And
how many years did you finance it?
5. I know, chew me out.
No, you know better.
Yeah, but the position we were in at the time and what we wanted to do with other things, we didn't want to go any less than that. Now
you couldn't afford the car then.
No, we could.
No, you couldn't. If you had to finance it for 5 years, you could not afford the car.
There's a lot of people that would never be able to afford a car.
That may be. There are a lot of people buying things they can't afford. I've certainly been guilty of it as well as the next person.
Yeah, and usually we don't extend ourselves that far, but we were in a financial position where it didn't hurt us, it wouldn't hurt us, and they went ahead and did it.
Well, we could argue about that. Let me ask you a very serious question. Right now, take the car out and smash it up.
Uh-huh.
Would you get enough money from the insurance company to pay off a note?
Yep. Because we put enough down with it, and the used car market with the note is maintained the
well,
value.
if you put, how much did you put down?
Oh, I think we put down 3.
And how much did the car cost?
19.
I don't believe that you could do that.
Why?
I don't believe right now. How much that you bought? You bought a $19,000 car 2 years ago. You had a $16,000 note, which has gone down almost nothing.
Okay.
You tell me that car's worth $16 grand today?
That's what the used car market tells me it's worth.
I'll bet you smash it up, you'll have to reach in your pocket for $2,000 or $3,000.
I hope not.
You try. Well, I'm telling you, you try and collect that from your insurance company.
I'll find out. Anyway, the question is credit union where my wife works right now is offering refinancing at 7.25%.
Simple?
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's giving simple anymore, are they?
I don't know. That's why I asked the question.
You don't think it is? I asked, and she didn't know at the time, and we just talked about it tonight, and I said, is it simple? And she didn't know. That was one of the questions.
What's your balance? Did you check to see what your payoff figure is?
No. Of course, we just talked about it tonight, so I don't know any of that.
Well, see, let me go back to the note that you have now. Was that computed under the rule of 78s?
Explain.
Means that you borrow the interest as well as borrowing the principal.
I don't know.
Probably did. So you've been paying nothing but interest up until now.
Yeah, it's probably a small portion. Oh, you mean the majority of the payment goes to interest and a decrease?
Well, because you also borrow the interest as well as the principal.
Sure. Okay,
which kicks the interest rate, the effective interest rate is much higher than you believe it to be. Than most people believe it to be. Stick around, we'll get into it in a minute, okay?
Okay, uh-huh.
I'm Bruce Williams. Hang in for Talknet.
1-800-743-8000.
I'm chatting with a gentleman in DeWitt, Michigan. He had financed the car for 5 years. He's 2 years into the deal. Now the credit union has a much lower rate. It's a pretty simple equation. First of all, you got to call the current lender, right? Get a payoff number.
Get the balance. Huh?
Payoff number, just call a payoff number.
Okay.
On a specific day, let's say November 15th for the sake of discussion.
They figure it daily.
Pardon me?
They figure it daily.
That's right. So you want a payoff number November 15th. And then what you back to the credit union and say how much is it going to, what would it cost me, or what will my monthly, do it by monthly payments. It's just as easy to do it that way.
Okay.
On this amount of money for 3 years.
Right.
If you want to keep it out that long.
That's what we want to do.
All right, that's a multiplication number. Then you multiply the payments that you would have had you not, or do it with the anniversary date of the thing. It might be a little bit easier for you. You know, whatever date your loan began.
Right.
And figure how many months you got to go. Let's assume it's 36. Multiplication. Now you got an addition or subtraction. If it's a negative number, it's a good deal. If it's a positive number, it's a bad deal.
Okay, if we do that, we can save, just in payments alone, about $75, $80 a month.
We don't know that, or do you know that?
Based on a rough estimate.
Well, okay, I don't know. I think that's a little bit. Well, maybe not, but just do the arithmetic.
Okay.
In that case, you ought to continue to make the high payments and get it paid off.
The downside would be then that as the used car market depreciates, the payoff on the automobile will stay roughly the same if the interest is not simple for a given period.
Well, that has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
Has nothing whatever to do with anything. But since you're making these payments now, either comfortably or less comfortably, continue to make the higher payments. Or put another way, let's assume for the sake of discussion that your numbers are accurate.
Okay.
And the amount of dollars you're paying off now, if you refinance it, will pay it down in 2 years and 5 months or 6 months.
Okay.
Then keep the payment up there, because despite what you're telling me, I think you're misinformed. I hope you're not, but I think you're misinformed.
Well, I made a phone call.
I think you're upside down.
Okay, based on that, then what you say is true. Suppose we're not upside down.
Well, suppose you're not. Still pay it off quicker. Why do you want to pay interest for no reason? It's not deductible. The quicker you pay it off, the better off you are. Furthermore, you're required to carry collision and comprehensive for the whole 5 years.
Absolutely, as long as you owe a penny on it.
That's right, and you don't have to carry collision and comp on a 4-year-old piece, in my opinion.
Okay, but the term of the term is going to be the same. If we refinance it, we're going to refinance it for.
Well, you might not be able to finance it for 3 years. Let's start with that. Very few places will refinance or finance a used car for 3 years. And that's what you got, a used car.
Right. It's a 91.
Pardon?
It's a 91.
But it's still a used car.
Right.
So the chances are you'll only be able to finance it for 2 years if you refinance, which will make the whole argument academic. Good luck, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. What are you up to tomorrow about noon? That's noon Eastern time. That could be as early as 8 o'clock in the morning if you're listening in Fairbanks or Anchorage. Well, whatever. We'll be here taking your calls off the air, putting them on tape for broadcast later on. And I would like very much to have you participate at 800-743-8000. We'll be here for 6 hours. We'll be doing it. Hopefully you'll join us. Albany, NY. Hello there.
Hi.
Hello. There's a little more enthusiasm. Let me try again. Albany, New York. Hello there.
Hi, I'm here.
That's not enthusiasm. One more time. Albany, New York. Hello there.
Hello.
That's better. You say, hi there. How are you? Come on, baby. How old are you?
Not that old, but I have...
You sound like you're 109. Goodness gracious. A little more pizzazz, panache. What's on your mind?
Health insurance.
Health insurance.
Yes.
Yeah, health makes me sick. Go ahead.
Okay. We were living in New Jersey We were members of a professional group.
What's that mean?
What does that mean? When
you say you're a professional group, what does that mean?
It's a professional association. It's a lot of people who do the same kind of work.
Like, what do you do?
At that time,
yeah.
The relevant point is the group was outreach professionals.
Okay, and what's that mean?
Religious outreach.
What is an outreach professional? I mean, somebody who goes into the home like a visiting nurse or a therapist?
No, this was religious outreach work, running adult education classes and things like that.
All right.
And the group consisted of people doing the same kind of work in different parts of the country.
Okay.
And this group offered a health insurance package to its members because they took a survey and found out that nobody had health insurance because nobody was working.
All right. Nobody was working?
Well, nobody was working for an institution that offered benefits.
Do you get paid? I mean, was this your occupation? You got paid for this?
This was my husband's occupation was an assistant rabbi, but the synagogue did not offer benefits there either.
I see. Okay.
So we bought health insurance through this group.
All right.
Okay. This group became part of a larger. They became part of a union for the purposes of purchasing health insurance.
All right.
And the person who answered the phone before told me not to mention any names, but they switched around during the 2 years we were with them between a number of different benefit coordination businesses.
All right, this is getting very convoluted. Okay, so now you're up in Albany and you have no insurance again?
No. We have insurance now. We have an HMO that we're very pleased with. Our problem is that the bills from the second year that we were there are not being paid.
Or you had coverage. You went to health providers, and now they're not getting paid.
Right.
When I was there, now these are going to sound like stupid questions. And I like to believe they are not. Okay. Was there an insurance company involved?
Yes.
A licensed insurance company?
A real major one.
Were they licensed to do business in the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
All right. On what basis are they denying your claims, or are they denying, or are they ignoring, or just what?
The first we heard from them was that all information related to this union is being frozen. All claims are being frozen because the union is under investigation.
What they're probably claiming it is a fraudulent group.
Yes, that is. Remember how I said that my group switched around between a number of different unions?
Yeah.
One set of claims is because they're claiming it's a fraudulent group, and that is currently in litigation in the courts in New York City.
All right.
Another set is because they signed up with a different insurance company.
Yeah.
The insurance company's actuaries took another look at this group after we had already paid 3 months' worth of premiums.
All right.
And said, wait a second, we aren't covering nothing from this bunch, and simply dropped all claims and said we are not covering.
Well, you see, they just can't drop all claims. Can we separate? Well, let's separate things out. They just can't drop all claims.
They sent us a letter
hear me out.
That we are not covered.
Well, that may be, but they have to have something to tie that to, either a fraudulent application, information that was withheld from them that was impertinent to the application or whatever. Now, let's separate things off, and you're not going to like the separation. Let's start with that, all right? You're responsible for paying those bills to the provider.
I know that.
Period. So no matter how this comes down, you got to pay the hospital, the doctor, whatever, legally.
I know.
Your quarrel is with a number of people. It may be the group that put this whole package together. You may have. How much money are we talking about? Are we talking about a significant sum of money?
Well, the premiums for the second...
No, how much is the claims against you?
The claims? Approximately $10,000.
All right, that's significant.
It was the birth of my second kid.
$10,000? Did you have a problem?
No, that's how much it costs to have a baby in northern New Jersey these days.
$10,000?
Well, $3,200 for the obstetrician.
Yeah.
$4,000 and something for the hospital. And the pediatric care in the nursery was approximately $1,000 for 3 days. What are we up to now? 900?
9,000, something like that, or 8,500.
Yeah, well, that's most of it. The rest of it is bills for pediatric orthopedic surgeons my son was seeing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Those are the big bills.
Okay. Well, you see, if they are denying, they just can't say we're not paying you without some kind of a reason. Well, I guess they can. But in litigation, they're going to have to defend that position.
Well, what we've heard from that so far is only that we're going to our bills are going to be paid to the tune of 3 cents on the dollar.
Where did that number come from?
From an independent fiduciary who is supposed to be disposing of the assets.
Oh, wait a minute. You're telling me the company, the insurance company went broke?
Not the insurance company.
So the
union went broke.
It would appear that the union...
The guy who was running the union and their accountant are I believe they haven't been convicted yet, but they have been indicted.
They're indicted. Well, you see, but you see, the insurance companies then are all saying there was fraud committed here.
Yes.
And that maybe you may be an innocent victim, but nonetheless you were part of the fraud. And they may very well be sustained by the courts under that condition, under those circumstances. That you guys conspired to create a group entirely for the purpose of getting insurance. Which apparently is what you did.
Well, our professional association is a real professional association for other purposes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the group that they became part of would probably fit into that category.
Yeah, well, I think you're probably not going to lose that one.
Is there any way of my recovering my premiums from my professional group?
Well, the professional group are they solvent?
If all 3,000 members decide to get back their health insurance premiums, no, they won't be.
Yeah, and that's the answer to that question, isn't it?
Does that mean I should try to be first in line?
Well, that's another program, but you see, if very many people get in line, they'll seek protection of the bankruptcy laws, and you'll become a general creditor.
Are they responsible to return my premiums to me if I request that from them?
Well, first of all, would the premiums returned by the insurance company to them?
I don't know.
Well, that's another question, you see. I don't know the answer to that.
They were in essence selling me insurance, and I didn't get any.
Well, whether they were selling it, I'm not sure that definition would apply. Now, I'm confident you must have sought legal advice in this issue. What were you told?
By one lawyer who specializes in insurance law, as long as the case is still in the courts, don't pay anything.
Yeah. Don't pay the bills?
Don't pay the bills as long as the case is still in the courts, because...
On what basis can he give you that advice?
His words were that the hospital may get money out of, I'll leave out the name of the major insurance company, but you won't.
Well, I'm not 100%. No, I don't agree with his advice at all.
That was what he said, is that his experience with these cases had been that the major insurance companies were not going to pay me, but might pay the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other side of that argument is they rendered the service to you, not to the insurance company. Mm-hmm. And you agreed when you went into that hospital, if the insurance company didn't pay, you would. It's on every admission form that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I just think there's a serious moral flaw in his argument.
He wasn't arguing morality; he was arguing practicality.
Well, that's another program. I do wish you well, dear.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Let's go to Florence, Alabama. Hello there.
Hey, Bryce. How you doing?
Okay, guy.
Can't believe I got up with you. This is the first time I believe I've ever called you, and on the fourth time I got you, so.
Well, son of a gun.
I'm pretty lucky, huh?
Well, we'll have to figure on that in a moment. Go ahead.
Okay, Bruce. I work 3 to 11 shift at a plant work. I've never been in business for myself. I got a little bit of spare time during the daytime since wife and kids are gone, so I started doing a little bit of carpenter work, things like this on the side. Tell me, it's working into a pretty good business, but it's still fresh. Like I said, relatively young. I've just been into it a few weeks. What are the benefits of taking money over the table as under the table?
Oh, now, come on. You know the answer to that. You're screwing the government. That's what you're trying to do, is not pay taxes.
That's true.
Well, that's the benefit. The disadvantage is if they catch you, they can make a very, very bad noise.
Well, what money advantages? let me ask you this. Somebody told me that you're, as far as business expenses, things like that, I've never been involved. Like I said, I've never been in business for myself, so.
Well, the money is... How much do you earn down at the mill, the plant where you're working?
Probably 25.
All right. Is your wife employed?
Yeah.
What is she?
She's part-time. She's probably 8 to 10.
All right. So now we're up to $35,000 a year, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
So that's going to stick you. You see, according to the politicians, you're the wealthy now. You see.
Right.
That will do you. That's they're talking about. You can believe that. These guys are telling you we're only going to tax the rich.
There you go.
You're sneaking up on it right now.
There you go.
All right. Now the fact is that you're probably going to be time you get. How many children do you have?
I've got 2.
Well, I don't know if you're. I don't really know if you're in the 15 or 28% tax bracket. I don't know the answer to that. You still might be in the 15, but you're sneaking up on a 28.
I'm somewhere. Yeah.
There's only you got to be one or the other, I guess. All right. If you put the money in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to save, let's say you're in the lower tax bracket.
Right.
15 cents on every dollar.
Okay.
That you would have to pay the government in taxes.
Right.
On the other hand, you got to be always looking over your shoulder.
That's true.
And when you're out doing work, some people are going to show it on their books as a check to John Jones.
Right.
And if they get audited, they're making big money, right?
There you go.
If they get audited, the trail's going to lead right to good old John. Now, it may be that they got a senior auditor auditing them, but the junior auditor or the senior auditor puts a little memo in, and some junior auditor grabs your file. And you can sit there and live that way for a while. It's entirely up to you whether you want to do that.
That's true.
I mean, obviously you can't deduct any of the costs involved, because if you deduct the costs, how is that money generated?
Okay, say I go over the table with it. What kind of business, right?
Over the table, huh?
Right, there you go.
I never heard that expression before.
The guy told me a while ago. I was trying to explain it to him, so he come up with this phrase. You can blame that one on him.
Okay, we'll footnote him. Go ahead.
What kind of business expenses can I write off?
Anything that's legitimately involved in producing the service or the product that you're vending.
Right. Vehicle, tools.
Well, a portion of that, yes. Okay. Not the entire.
But a percentage, right?
Truck or car, sure. A percentage of the cost of the operation of that truck or automobile.
Right.
Would be a legitimate business expense.
Okay.
You mentioned tools. If you had to go out and specifically purchase tools in order to get the job done, they in turn would be a legitimate business.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because it takes quite a few too. Like I said, it's sort of a jack of all trades. So.
Let me give you. I'm not going to sermonize, okay?
Okay.
But the fact is, I don't think that most people want to live looking over their shoulder all the time.
That's true. See, that's what I've been thinking about lately.
And for the little bit of saving. Again, I don't want to sound Pollyannish. I'm not going to tell you you're not going to play fast and loose with the expenses, because you probably will. You know,
right.
I mean, you'd be very much the exception if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, to try to ignore it altogether is probably not even short-term smart.
Right. Okay.
Because sooner or later you got to be worried all the time.
Yeah,
what's
right.
somebody going to say? I would not be comfortable in that environment.
Yeah,
I
like I said, I'm new. I've never have been into business, and like I said, I did it, just more for the time, and like I said, the time's turned into pretty good money.
Well, that's good.
Better than what I thought. So
we're not going to argue with that, are we?
There you go. That's exactly right.
I do wish you well, kid.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet.
1-800-743-8000.
Divide, Montana. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, you're most welcome. Can you speak up just a little bit?
Yes, certainly. It's a real honor to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
I've been a Bruce addict for years, so this is really exciting. But I need your advice, Bruce. Last night, when my husband and I came home from work, there was a message on our answering machine. And a gentleman left his first and last name and said that he wanted my husband to call him back and gave a toll-free number. we didn't recognize the gentleman's name, but my husband has been waiting for a call, and we thought maybe this was it. So he returned the call promptly. The gentleman identified himself as being a staff member for an attorney or a law firm out of state, and went on to explain that there was an outstanding debt in my husband's name on a credit card in about $3,000, and that legal action was being taken against my husband. And we knew nothing about this. And
well, let's start with did they give you a credit card number or a reference or any kind?
Well, a name of this it's a bank card.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell you anything. It could be Visa or MasterCard, but it could be issued by any number of 100 different issuing companies. Did they give you the pertinent information?
Yes.
The account number?
Yes.
And the bank that it was issued on?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have such a card?
Nope, never.
Did your husband ever have such a card?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did they give an address?
Yes. Of the bank?
No, of the address where this alleged activity took place, meaning your address.
No, it was a different address.
That's what I'm saying. They gave you an address.
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever lived at that address?
My husband did years ago.
All right. How many years ago?
Oh, about 8.
How old is your husband?
He's in his 40s.
Was he single at the time?
No.
Well, this is like pulling teeth. What I'm trying to get to, was there anybody in his family that might have run up this bill?
Well, but
like an ex-wife, maybe, like.
Yes, there's an ex-wife in the picture.
All right. Did she run up these bills?
Well, we don't know, because the credit card is in his name, not in her name.
Well, that may be, but we want to see some receipts and that sort of thing.
Yes, and this gentleman claims that he doesn't have them.
Well, in that case, so long. It's been good to know you.
Really? We were real concerned that this was a scam. He had a lot of personal information on my husband.
I doubt, sir. I don't think it's probably a scam. I think the chances are. Your husband's how old?
In his 40s.
Does he have children by this marriage?
Mm-hmm.
How old?
19 years old.
At the time?
Huh?
19 now.
Yes, 19 now.
When did this take place, supposedly?
Oh, just within the last several years.
Well, you got to narrow it down a little bit, or can you?
No, the charges.
That's what I mean. When did these charges take place?
He wasn't able to narrow it down specifically. He said it was approximately 90 days past the last charge, which was, he was guesstimating that the last charge was made in 1991.
Well, in that case, you want some documentation. It could be it could be the teenage kid. Mm-hmm. Could be the former wife, or it could be somebody else. Mm-hmm. But your husband hasn't lived there for, well, let's do it this way.
8 years.
He hasn't lived there for 8 years. Mm-hmm. Did we point this out to this guy?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said, well, I'm very sorry, sir, but this credit card is in your name and you're responsible for it.
I'm very sorry, sir, but that's not the case. I haven't renewed the card. Did your husband cancel the card or not?
He never had one.
Never had a card in his name?
Not with this particular company.
All right, then you write them a letter and get an address in this cat. Say, I want to correspond because I want to make a record of that A, I have not lived at this, been domiciled here for 8 years. Mm-hmm. B, I have never made application to this company. Mm-hmm. C, I have never had a credit card with this company. D, I have never charged anything with this company. E, I've been divorced for how many years?
9.
All right, I've been divorced for 9 years from the occupants at this address. Mm-hmm. Now, does she still use his name?
No. Mm-mm.
She doesn't call herself Mrs. John Smith, even though...
No, she's remarried.
All right, when did she remarry?
Pardon me?
When did she remarry?
Oh, to the best of my memory. Yeah, a couple of years ago.
All right. That my former wife, Mrs. Mary Jane Smith, remarried 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you want to get into the kid, because the kid's starting to come out more and more, maybe a winner here. Yeah. Does he have the same name?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you tell me that?
She has the same last name as my husband.
I'm talking about the child.
Yeah, the child does, yeah.
But not the same first name.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. It's not a junior or something like that.
No.
It's a female.
Yes, it's a female.
All right,
yes.
but you can say there is a female child at that address, name of Mary Smith, who has never had is she on good terms with this kid?
Yes.
Well, the first thing you got to do when you hang up for me is call the kid and say, listen, if you blew it and you did this, tell me.
Yeah.
Because you may be going to jail otherwise.
Ooh, yikes.
Because I'm going to sign an affidavit of fraud. And guess who they're coming after? So let's level with me, kid.
Okay.
Get on the phone and have her make. That's the conversation you ought to have.
Boy, I didn't even think of that.
And then if it turns out it's the kid, you got a hard decision to make. Are you going to pay it, or are you going to accuse the kid of fraud? Because those are your choices.
Wow. Tough choices.
Not so. Not so tough. I mean, well, maybe it is a tough choice. I don't know. I mean, everything is pointing toward the kid.
I hadn't even thought of her, to tell you the truth.
So easy to fill in a credit application. She would know about her father, know what he does for a living.
Sure.
All that personal data that you said he was reciting. Chicky baby would have all that at her disposal, would she not?
I guess.
Social security number.
They had his social security number and everything, yeah.
Well, the kid could have that very easily, right?
Sure.
The bank, whatever bank references, where he works, she'd know that too, huh?
She would, yeah,
Well,
she does.
Is she working?
Not consistently.
And so she has not exactly the most responsible background, does she?
Oh, yeah.
Guess what?
Well, that's an angle I sure hadn't thought of.
Well, it's one you better think about, because I think the chances are very, very more than even that the kid is at the base of this. Only one child but I'm married?
Yes.
Well, if I were laying the odds, honey, I'd be looking at rather significant odds in favor of her. Tell you what, I'd like you to give us a call back. Dan will give you a number, and let me know if it was the kid, okay?
Bruce?
I'm Bruce
Great,
Williams.
Thanks.
All right, hold on, Denny. Take her number. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. My thanks to Dan Rudd, Dallas Riggins, and Dick Owen for doing their thing back in the studios. Hey, we're going to see you guys tomorrow between noon and 6 Eastern Time for a little taping session. Fair enough? I know it's not easy. Give it your best shot, huh, kid? Try and do what's right. I'm Bruce Williams. Keep it tough. A deeper hole.
Yeah.
This is going to come as a wet blanket. Here comes old Wet Blanket Williams, okay? Wouldn't it be nice to kind of get out of the hole before you dig it a little deeper?
Yep.
Well, I think that's what you ought to do.
Yeah.
Keep that car and pay for it. And if you want to buy yourself we laughingly used to call station cars, the kind you drove back and forth to the railroad station every day.
Right.
It's okay. That's all. I don't think you need any more than that. I have no matter. I'm not opposed to buying new cars. I think it's great. But I think you have plenty of time. You're a young couple. Why just dig a massive hole right now? I don't think it makes any sense.
Well, I was wondering, someone was telling me about like a replacement fund, like for a refrigerator. Most of our appliances are fairly old. They're going to be need renewing before too long. And they were saying this, put so much money a week.
Well, that's what companies. That's what companies do in theory. You allocate funds because you know that your assets are constantly wearing out and have to be replaced. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world to do.
So you should have like a little contingency fund?
Well, it doesn't have to be set aside in a separate account. It has to be accounted for, yes. Where you put so much money into a savings plan.
Right.
And for certain, and there are allocated uses for that savings money.
Just earmark it for replacing your fund, like.
Yeah, it's rather like the old cookie jar or coffee can method, except it's a little more sophisticated. You keep track on your computer, see. I do wish you well, guy.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce.
Thanks a lot for your call. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Hey, we go now to Tucson, Arizona. Hello there.
Bruce, how you doing, buddy?
I am real well, thank you. Overstuffed, but I think that probably puts me in step with most of the nation.
Okay. Hey, Bruce, I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. The first one is I have a mutual fund that primarily invests overseas, and there's a front-end load of 5%, and I just would like to get your opinion. Do you think that's fair, or?
Well, it's a question of fair. That's what they charge. If you want to, nobody puts a gun to your head and says you have to invest in them. How is I guess the proof of the pudding kind of thing is, how is that fund doing?
It's been averaging over 20%.
Well, is it fair? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
Okay, so
20% when savers have been earning 3%. That's 6.5 times. Not too shabby.
Okay, so Bruce, you're saying there's no free lunch out there, huh?
Absolutely. As you well know, there are load funds, front and back. There are no load. There are low load, front only, back only. There's all manner of ways. But no matter how you slice it, someplace, somewhere, the managers and whatever of these funds have to make a buck. And are they not entitled to that?
Sure they are.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They're the professionals.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, my other question for you is, with interest rates rising right now, I'd like to know, do you think CDs are a good deal right now?
Oh, I wouldn't touch that one because it's too broad. I mean, let's just academically go into that for 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
A CD is a lousy investment for some people. People who are more aggressive, people who are younger, people who have risk tolerances a little larger. A CD can be a pretty decent investment for older people that cannot weather the storm of hiccups of the economy, which are bound to happen. For people whose tolerance for risk is almost zero, and where they want instant access to their funds. Now, between those two extremes, most of us probably will drop in. Is that not true?
Right.
So it goes from a very good idea to a lousy idea, and all points in between.
Okay.
I do wish you well, my friend.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're very, very welcome. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, one size simply does not fit all. West Branch, Iowa. Hello there.
Bruce?
Hi.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
I'm trying to do some fundraising for the restoration of our Soldiers and Sailors Monument in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, I've been real successful on a small scale level of raising $1 and $5 at a time, and I've put about $7,000 together for this, but we're $182,000 short. And
what is it you're trying to accomplish?
Well, they built this monument 100 years ago in Des Moines to honor the Civil War soldiers from Iowa. It's had no upkeep since then. They've done no maintenance on it. And it's in dire need of a facelift. The state right now has no money that they want to commit to the project, so it's all going to be privately funded. Thus far, corporate Iowa hasn't come through too well on it. And they've been trying to raise the money for 2.5 years now. If the project has to get put back another year from the starting date that was supposed to be April of '95, there's a $5,000 penalty, which will, in effect, wipe out all the money that I spent all summer raising.
A penalty enforced upon by whom?
Well, the contractor requires another $5,000 in added costs if they start in April of '96. So they made him put up, this contractor had him put up another $5,000 as earnest money, and that means that they will start in April of '96. But if the money isn't raised by April of '96, then the $5,000 is gone. But I was wondering, do you have any suggestions how I could reach, say, famous Iowans that have done really well, or how I can get in touch with corporate Iowa a little better?
Well, why do you think that corporate Iowa ought to pay for this? How about just people who live in Iowa? How many? What's the population of Iowa?
Okay, we've got about 3 million people. That would be $1 out of every 11 Iowans.
If
they would have the money.
If I was about to point out that if you got $50 from everybody, you'd be doing real, real well.
Well, I agree, but
you see, it's good to be a corporate neighbor, a good neighbor, to be a corporate good neighbor. But we constantly hit. And if you really want the people to really get hit hard are the little merchants. Every time, the fife and drum corps wants to go somewhere, or the football team needs a new helmet, they go to the little guys. You know,
right.
Buy an ad in our journal and so forth. It's great advertising, and everybody knows it's not advertising at all. It's simply a donation.
Mm-hmm.
And small business gets just donated to death.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's been an organizational problem with this. The little person hasn't been reached. I could get out there and raise, but I'm only getting $1 at a time.
It seems to me one of the things that Iowa takes pretty seriously is football.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you try to tie it together with football in some way?
Well, I'm trying to get the schools.
Oh, I was saying, go to a couple of the schools and see if they could have a football game.
Yeah. Well, it's getting kind of late in the season for that.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe you could have a Veterans Bowl or something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get schools involved.
Or
like
basketball.
Or Statue of Liberty.
I beg your pardon?
Well, you remember a few years ago, all these schools and organizations got together and they raised money for the facelift for the Statue of Liberty?
Yes, that was back in 1987, wasn't it?
Right, they raised $87 million, but I'm having a hard time getting it done by myself, and I don't seem to be getting a great deal of help.
Well, unfortunately, it's not the sort of thing that is I don't know if the word popular is something I want to is the word I'm looking for, but it's hard to generate enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried to work with some of the radio and or television stations?
Well, I tried some. I've called them all. I've had quite a bit of stuff in Eastern Iowa newspapers about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a couple of 30-second spots for. Well, in fact, the radio station that I'm listening to you on.
Who are the more famous of Iowa's sons and daughters?
Well, Dear Ann and Abby. They're Iowans, and I've written them, and I haven't heard back from them.
I'm surprised.
Hank Ketchum. Well, I think it's mainly a point of getting through to him. Because I just wrote their general.
Hank Ketchum, that's Dennis the Menace, right?
Yeah, Hank Ketchum. His great aunt is the one that designed the monument.
Is that right? Well, I'd see.
And he's involved in it.
Is that because he's a very nice guy. I bought one of his cartoons.
Oh yeah.
Actually, he asked me if I'd donate some money to a charity, and there's an answer. There's an idea there too. Maybe he would be willing to do some sketches if people were willing to donate.
Well, that's what I've approached him about, getting a signed and numbered limited edition print or something.
Indeed, because he's a very talented guy. Who else?
Oh, there's Tom Arnold, if you want to call him a famous Iowan. He's been rather successful.
Yeah, I guess he has.
So, Simon Estes, the opera singer.
I'm sorry?
Simon Estes, the opera singer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't know.
I think he lives overseas, though.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, what I need is one high roller to come in and think that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I don't know that it's necessary for the high roller to put their own money up.
No, I
certainly
certainly
some money, but would see, like you mentioned, the Heartbreak Kids, the twins that write the column, would seem to me that if they were to make an appeal in their column with the millions of readers they have, that
I know.
Would certainly be and you might suggest that you and I discuss this on the air when you write to them, and I think that that's something they ought to respond if this is their home state. If in fact they have any interest in Iowa's veterans, and I would hope that they would. But it takes a guy like you to keep piquing the conscience of your citizens, and I do hope it works out well for you, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go to Odessa, Florida to say hello.
Oh, Bruce.
You betcha.
I have a small problem, which is probably insignificant compared to a lot of them, but I shoot competition air rifle. And the scope sight that I had on my air rifle in August, I was having problems with it, and I shipped it back to the dealer in the state of Washington for repairs. At that time, he led me to believe the repairs would be made here in the States. They'd get back to me. You'd have it within a month. No problem. Well, this number of months went by, and I've called them numerous times. Well, we sent it back to Japan. We don't have repair facilities. They led us all to believe that they had repair facilities there. Now, this thing.
Let me ask you a question. Would it have mattered? Suppose they said at the beginning, well, it's got to go back to Japan. Your options wouldn't have changed very much.
It wouldn't have changed, but at least I would have been aware, I may have been without this thing for an extended period of time. But they assured me at that time I was leaving the country for a month, and they said, well, when you get back to the States, Here, we'll have your scope waiting for you. No problem. And so, this has been a matter of months. Now, I have since checked, and I have found 4 people in the United States and 1 in England that's had similar problems with this dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these scopes have disappeared for as long as a year
Mm-hmm.
and never came back. Now, this scope is not a small item. It's an $800 telescope.
Mm.
So, the point is, what are my options? What can I do? I mean, apparently, they keep saying, well, last time I called, they said, well, if nothing else, we can send you your money back. I said, well, fine, let's do that. That's been a month or so. Since then, they won't even take my call.
Hmm.
They've also offered to replace the scope when new ones come in, which will be sometime after the first year or sometime in there. Now,
I don't think your options are very strong, very candidly.
Pardon?
I don't believe your options are that you have very many options.
Mm-hmm. Well, in other words, all I can do is write this thing off?
Well, no, I don't think it's a write-off. I think eventually you'll get either your money back or a new scope or the repaired one. But it would appear that they're in a pretty strong position. There are very few places that this can be repaired in the country or elsewhere. Is that not true?
Yes, there's not too many places. And I found there was a place this scope could have been repaired in California, but that was after I sent it off.
But you don't find them at every street corner.
No, and this was also under warranty. It had one of these jokingly lifetime warranties. At my age, they figured I'd probably die before the scope broke.
Well, that's another question. I think you'll have to keep itching at them, and I think sooner or later you'll get your scope back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're disreputable. It just sounds to me like they don't have any great pressure of competitive pressures on them. And they kind of operated at their own speeds.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing that bothered me is when I found out that the reigning world champion, that they have his scope, and, for this same, for a longer length of time than they had mine.
Well, but you've also, apparently, your investigation seemed to indicate that sooner or later they come through.
Well, none of these people has ever sent them back, has ever seen or heard of their scope again.
Well, I thought you told me that one guy got it back in a year.
No, I said it had been gone over a year.
And they've not returned it?
No.
Well, that's a little different matter. How did you send these things to them?
I sent it UPS, which I have, the tracker and so on.
Well, no, I was hoping. Well, have you sent them? What I'm trying to get to is to use the mail to pay them or anything else. Is there any way you have used the U.S. mail?
No, I have not used U.S.
Well, that's bad, because then we can complain to the postal inspectors, you see.
Mm-hmm. But going through UPS is a different matter, huh?
That's right. How did you pay them?
How did I pay them? I paid them by check.
How did you send the check?
The check was sent. One of the local men sent the check because we bought 3 of them at one time.
How did you send
it? It went by mail.
Well, then you did use the mail then.
Mm-hmm.
The money, do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, all right, I follow that. In other words, they received payment by mail for the scope.
Then complain to the postal inspectors that you feel that you're being defrauded.
Mm-hmm.
At least if you can build a fire under them that way.
A
phone call from the post office department frequently can get people to move.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you well, my friend.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Take good care. That's the first time I've ever had a call from someone in the air rifle target business. I'm Bruce Williams. They're out there. This is Talknet. We're off to Syracuse, NY. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How we doing, Guy?
Good. Enjoy your program very much.
Well, thank you.
I'm considering investing in residential income property as a long-term investment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've found something with positive cash flow in a good location.
Single family or multiple?
It's 4-unit.
Okay, so far I like what you multiple units make so much more sense than single.
Yeah. I was wondering, I'm going to need a home equity loan for the down payment.
All right. Well, let's talk about the deal first, shall we?
Okay. It costs the price is they're asking $119,000.
All right.
At the present time. Mm-hmm. There's 4 2-bedroom units.
Right.
Renting for $460 apiece.
All right. hold on now. They're doing my head here. 1840.
Mm-hmm. Right.
1840 a month.
Right.
How's the occupancy level?
You mean in terms of the percentage vacancy type?
Well, yeah. Do they keep it filled pretty much?
They said they have. I guess that's another question I had for you.
What do they provide for that $450 a month?
In terms of what? I'm not sure.
Do they provide utilities, heat?
No, the tenants pay their own utilities.
And their own heat?
Yes.
So far, it's a hell of a deal.
Okay,
What
good.
kind of shape's it in?
Very good shape. Looks like it's going to need a new roof. It's probably, I'd say, 50 to 60 years old.
Well, I don't think that's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
How about sewer taxes, those sort of things? Do you pay that?
Well, yeah.
How much are the taxes?
Taxes are kind of high. Right now, they're around $8,000.
Boy, that is high on a $120,000 property.
Yeah, well, it's over appraised. It's appraised at $157,800.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working.
You mean assessed, not appraised?
Assessed, right? Assessed at $157,800.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working with a realtor now to try to get that reduced.
Well, how are they going to help you there?
What they've done is try to find some other properties in the area that are similar to this dwelling.
Yeah.
And for a lower appraisal.
That's all very well, but then you have, in most areas, yours may be different, but I rather doubt it. You'll be obliged to go through an appellate process, and then customarily there's only a certain time of the year you can do that.
Right. It could be a problem for the first year.
And as a practical matter, they can't do anything unless the owner of the current owner of record allows them to act for them.
They are doing that. The present owner is doing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
I wouldn't hope for that. Go ahead. But so far, it doesn't sound like a bad deal to me.
Yeah.
But it is over. It is highly taxed.
Right. That's kind of the one thing holding me back right now.
Well, that wouldn't hold me back in that necessarily.
Uh-huh.
But you said it's thrown off. What was the number? I forgot now.
1840.
So it's $22,000 a year, a little less.
Right.
It's still pretty decent.
Yeah. And it's in a good location, so I'm not counting on it appreciating, but if it does,
you don't think it's going to go away, though?
Pardon?
It's not going the other way.
Right. No,
you mentioned that you'll have to borrow the money against your present home.
Right.
At how much money and at what interest rate?
Well, they're asking for 30% down on, I think, anything more than 2 units. So we're talking $35,000.
Do you have that equity in your home? You want to finance the whole works? You're telling me?
Right, basically. Yeah.
Not basically.
Right.
You want to finance the whole works?
Yes.
Well, it's nice if you can do it.
Mm-hmm. I have about $80,000 equity in my present home.
What do you feel? Have you worked out the numbers? What would your monthly payments be if you finance the whole thing?
I think it was $1,200. That doesn't include the taxes.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting pretty close to just a wash.
Yeah, well, I'm really not too interested in if it's going to be a wash, then...
Well, figure it out. You get $1,200 a month, and you're going to have $150 a week, almost $600 and change. No, it's more than that. A month for taxes. You're now at 18, almost 19. It's rolling only about 22.
Yeah, maybe it was okay. Maybe it wasn't $1,200. Maybe that included the tax. It was. I think I figured if it was $100,000, if I got it for $100,000 using round figures, that it would be around $925 a month. Of course, interest rates keep going up.
Yeah, you're not. But you see, you're looking for a positive cash flow with no investment. That's not. God bless you if you can bring it off.
I'm going to try.
Well, I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're leveraging the whole deal.
Right.
Well, that is frequently, if you can just cover your expenses, that's not a bad deal because you are amortizing your debt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously I don't have, $30,000 or $35,000 to put down. I probably wouldn't want
even if you did put it down, you see, you still got to figure the cost. Money has cost.
Right.
whether you are loaning it to yourself or borrowing from an outside institution. It doesn't matter. Cost of the money is still a factor.
Right.
But it would appear if your numbers are good numbers, you still is not a bad deal.
Okay, great. A couple other questions.
Yeah.
Is it better, in your opinion, to have a lease, like a year lease, or is it better to have a month-to-month?
Oh, you're better off in a lease. Much better off.
Okay.
Get some stability. A month-to-month, you don't know who's going to be there next week.
Yeah.
What advantage to you is there in a month-to-month? Tell me.
Well, what one person told me was that it's easier to evict somebody.
That's true. It's also easier for them to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, why are you thinking about evictions all of a sudden?
Well, just looking ahead type of thing. I've never owned an income property.
Looking ahead to what?
In case there's any problems.
Well, what kind of problem? You got to be more specific than that.
Well, if somebody was trashing the apartment.
If they've trashed the apartment, they've broken their lease.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Well, I would not go. And furthermore, and obviously every statement has exceptions. We can agree on that, all right?
Right.
You're going to find a better class of people with a lease than you are with a month-to-month.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that. That's true. How about rental history? I've considered
I asked you about that.
Yeah. You know, how truthful?
I don't know. You're asking me to tell you the veracity of the owner of this property, who I have.
With rental history, I'm just wondering what good does it do if they can just more or less BS me through it?
Well, you see that you have to be a little more perceptive than that. First of all, tax returns are a solid indicator of what's going on.
Okay.
Good luck, guy.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
All righty. Just remember, real estate is a business. Real estate is not always a winner. Buffalo, New York. Hello there. I'm sorry, Cleveland. Hello. Well,
Franklin.
Wherever in Ohio. Where?
Franklin, Ohio.
Franklin. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I enjoy listening to you. Bring a little bit of sanity to this crazy world when I'm out driving around. My question was about I videotaped a play in the high school.
Yeah.
I wanted to submit it to the Access channel to be played. The person who directed the play in the school kind of wondered about royalties, which they had to pay.
He has every right to wonder about that, because when you use a literary work, you customarily have to pay a fee.
Okay.
And if are you planning on doing this is there a profit involved?
No, there's no profit. This is a school access channel. It's just going to be put on for the people to see. No profit whatsoever.
Well, I would, if it were me, I'd drop a letter to whoever owns the rights to it and ask if that's acceptable use.
Okay.
And it may very well be no charge for that. They had to pay for it because they were putting it on in the play. They probably charged admissions for the high school play, right?
They did pay royalties on that part of it.
Well, that's perfectly proper.
Yes, I understand that. I just didn't want to submit it and then have it put on and then find out I owed somebody royalties.
Well, that's why I would write to the owner of the manuscript.
Okay.
And explain what you want to do. That the royalties have already been paid for the performers and they're unpaid. You know, the whole routine. I suspect they probably let you do it.
Okay, well, thank you.
I do wish you well, Guy. I'm Bruce Williams. Hang in for more. This is Talknet. All righty, Buffalo. I was a little premature before. I think I got you this trip.
Hey, Bruce. How you doing?
Okay, Guy.
I listen to your show and enjoy it immensely every day.
Well, thank you.
Question. You had a caller on some time ago, and I tried to call you the same night and couldn't, about car rental insurance. Like when I go because I rent a car several times a year to make a trip from Buffalo to Alabama, and they always ask me about the LDW or, it's a $100 deductible, I believe, here in the state of New York. Does that cover everything, or?
Well, it depends. Do you have your own car?
Yes.
All right. You see, in many rental cars have precious little liability insurance on them that cover the driver. They do cover the rental car company, but the driver for frequently just a minimum the state requires. That is increased when you take the collision damage waiver. Now, if you have the appropriate, either if you have collision on your own automobile, or you have the appropriate credit card, then the collision damage waiver is throwing money away as well.
Okay, I do have an appropriate credit card, and I do have full coverage on my vehicle.
Well, there's no reason in the world for you to buy collision insurance, then, that I can see.
All right.
Now, the one hazard that may not be covered is the loss of the use of that car by the rental car company.
So in that respect,
well, it may or may not be. In some cases, it is argued that it's covered by your liability portion.
Okay.
And others not.
Okay. You have time for one other quick question?
Sure.
Okay. We are one payment from paying a rented home entertainment center. Okay. Within the last month, the stereo portion developed a problem. The rental company came and picked it up to send it out to have it repaired.
Is this some of these rent-to-own deals?
Yes, it is. Okay, so far 3 phone calls, and it's still being repaired after about a month. We have nothing to show that we've paid it for 2 years. Do we have any recourse?
Well, you lost me at that last item. What do you mean you have nothing to show?
Well, in other words, we have receipts or whatever.
Well, that's something to show then, is it not?
Oh, well, yeah. But how long do we drag out this, well, it's still being repaired kind of deal?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is still being repaired. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, a little earlier in the program, we had a guy that had sent a gun sight out, and it's been 6 months, and he hasn't got it back yet.
Well, now, the other thing I need to mention, too, is we were, like I say, we were within 1 month of paying it off, and with some reservation, I told the guy, okay, let me pay part of it, of the 1 month, because once I pay it totally off, they're not obligated to repair it, right?
I don't know that. I have no idea what you signed.
Okay.
The rent-to-own deals, by and large, this may not apply to you, but by and large, they're aimed at people whose credit is a little bit shaky. Was that the case for you?
Pretty much.
Okay. And as a consequence, you wind up paying rather substantial interest, whether it's hidden as rental cost or whatever.
No question. I realized that going into it.
Okay, well, you walked in with your eyes open, and I guess there was a good reason to do it.
But the thing I'm wondering now is, like I said, we've paid it for 2 years, and we've held on to paying the last $10 or $15 until we see if we're going to get it back or whatever. Is that the right thing to do?
I really don't know.
Okay.
Because again, I'm at a disadvantage. I don't know what you have signed, what your contractual liability is, and in this instance, maybe more important, what their contractual liability is. It would seem to me that if it broke down during the rental period, then they have an obligation to bring it back up to speed. But once again, and I don't want to indict everybody, but a lot of these companies do kind of prey upon people who are a little bit of trouble.
Well, because the builder has to do a lot of finish work and installation of fasteners and fine cutting and trimming to get it to fit and everything else. But in fact, these things. The reason I did this myself was that they weren't mirror images of each other, and I've got a set that are, and I could even. It's not hard to knock out a shell once you've got the molds. If I could just send them, say, a left shell or right shell plus an offer. Would that be well received?
My inclination would be to say you might be better off to sell the molds and be out from under, but that's another question.
Well, that would be fine.
What I would do is I would write them and say, I developed this mold because I couldn't find anything in the market that meet my standards. I have to believe other people might be in the same situation. Is there a reason for a relationship between us?
Okay.
And see what they had to say.
Well, I can do that.
I'm sure you can. You going to Oshkosh next year?
I sure hope to.
Well, I sure hope to be there as well.
Well, get around, like I say, go to the home build area and look at some of the airplanes that are there. I think you'd be surprised.
I would not be surprised at all. Interested but not surprised. I do wish you well, Guy.
Okay.
St. Louis, Missouri, hello there.
Hey, good evening, Bruce.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
Fine. Thank you for defining EAA.
Okay. It's the out in Oshkosh, every year they have this huge air show. And I think this is a mind-boggling statistic. Over 10% of all the general aviation aircraft in the world are there.
That's wonderful.
I think that's mind-boggling.
It is.
Everything from privately owned B-25s and P-51 Mustangs to home builds to garden variety 182s and 210s, and it's just an amazing thing. People just are into aviation. It's the only. I mean, it's the airplanes are so thick you can almost get up and walk on them. Something else to say. What's on your mind, Guy?
Well, I have a situation. I'm not sure if there's any recourse that I might take. I recently went to a management position with another company.
You mean you left your?
No. Maybe I'm not saying it succinctly.
Okay.
I responded to an ad in the paper for an executive level position.
Okay.
Was interviewed, called back a second time, was offered the position, approximately doubled my present salary. So I was, very much interested.
I can understand that.
Jump. My previous employer.
Previous?
Well, the present employer at the time.
I thought that would bring a third one in there. Okay.
No, there's just two.
Your current employer.
The current employer. I spoke with them, gave them in excess of 2 weeks' notice, and was able to work an accommodation for the new company, kind of splitting my time the last week I was there. Because they were in such a hurry to get someone on board prior to the holidays. My second afternoon with the company, I asked to meet with the owner and just kind of feel them out and let them feel me out and kind of see what type of objectives they had for me, what they were looking for as far as goals, and talk a little bit of philosophy. While we're having this meeting, the employer says, well, you know something? I'm glad you came in here because I have a problem. What is the possibility of you going back to the first employer and asking for your job back? And I said, well, why? Have I done something? Is there? Oh, no, I'm very...
Okay, but I want you to hold on to that thought, because let's take a little time out, and I want to find out all of why they tried to maybe perhaps did pull the rug out from under you. Stick around. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I am chatting with a young fellow in St. Louis, Missouri. He was offered a job at almost double his salary. He said, by golly, this is the best thing since ice cream. Accepted it, gave his notice, and was working for his new company and still hanging in with the old company, trying to make the transition as easy as possible. He asked to talk to the new boss just to kind of go over some things, and he said, I'm glad you came in here because I don't think we need you around this. That's about the size of it, huh?
Sure is.
Why did he? What happened?
Well, they said that they heard from a previous employee that had only worked for them 9 months and abandoned another position that had a graduate degree, and said, well, I can get that same person back at the salary that I offered you, and that's what we'd like to do. Here's the door.
That's what they'd like to do, or that's what we're going to do?
Well, that's what they did.
Oof. Where'd that leave you?
Well, fortunately enough, I was on good terms with, the first employer, and they thought I got screwed and were welcome to take me back.
Well, you were very fortunate. What are you asking me? Do you have any recourse against the other guy?
Well, yeah.
I doubt it.
Really?
Unless you had a contract.
Well, no, nothing. They refused to confirm our agreement in writing when I initially asked.
In that case, why did you leave?
Well,
I'm not sure that would have helped you any, because they serve at their pleasure as just as you can leave when you choose to.
Precisely.
But boy, they're They're tough people over there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had the other guy left, and they're going to take him back. But you said he had a grad degree. I take it you do not.
Correct.
Is the degree that important to the position? Just curious.
I don't think so, because in talking with them, the position that I held was supposed to be a stepping stone for further advancement for this person once they got him in, at a later date. And to the point, though, that they even assured me that in 4 to 6 months that they would contact me back and want me to, come again.
I'm sure you're going to go there.
Oh, post haste.
Huh. Live and learn. You're lucky your old boss is a little understanding.
Yeah, but I was concerned. There was some related expenses that I incurred in the transition, and looks like I'm left in the lurch.
I would think so. I when they called again, I don't think I'd be home.
Oh, I don't think they will be calling.
Boy. Hey, who said it should be easy, guy?
Isn't that the truth? Bruce, one quick second question, if I may?
Sure.
Okay. I also have a home-based business, and I'm running into a query or quandary how to assess shipping and handling fees. I see them on TV and other things, and they run the gamut. How does one...
What do you mean by assess them? How much do you charge, you mean?
Correct.
Well, I'm in a business where we charge shipping and handling. We figure out what it costs us, and we pass it along.
Mm-hmm.
Do we make a profit on it? No.
Okay.
But I mean, if it costs us so much money for the envelope, and so much money for somebody to stuff it into the envelope, and so much for the postage and so forth, we got to work those numbers out. And let's face it, all costs are passed along to all customers.
Right.
Now, in some cases, the costs are hidden. In some cases, they're up front. If you walk into the store, the shipping is included in the price of your product.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it got there. Only one person going to pay for that.
Sure.
The guy at the end of the loop. What kind of business are you in?
I have a photography business.
What does that mean?
Shoot proms, schools, things like that.
I see.
And I was just wondering that not always can I hand deliver or, arrange.
I think I'd include that in the cost of doing business.
Okay.
I don't think I'd make an extra on that.
No, that's what I was wondering.
I do wish you well, guy.
Thank you, sir. Keep up the good work.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. Marcia, where would you like us to go now? To Fort Smith, Arkansas, or Arkansas, and some people would say. Hello there.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm all right.
I was toying with an idea. We got a number of houses in our area that are tagged to be condemned, or not condemned, but to be destroyed.
Why?
Demolished.
Why?
Well, they've been abandoned. There's back taxes owed on them, and they're just falling into a state of disrepair.
Why?
Why what? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
In other words, why? If a property is a good, solid property, can produce income or whatever, why does someone abandon it? I think, isn't that a legitimate question?
Oh, well, in some cases, the owner will die, and the owner's beneficiaries may not be interested in keeping up the property.
Yeah.
Or they'll rent it out, and it'll get destroyed, and they'll have to cover the cost of fixing it up again every time they rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
And, walls get kicked in, things like that.
Sounds like
and
a great
they may just
neighborhood.
say, to heck with it ain't worth it, just let it go back.
So what do you... Well, it doesn't go back, but it can be foreclosed upon by the taxing authority. There's no question about that.
Basically, what happens is these houses fall into such a state of disrepair, they just get tagged for demolition.
All right.
And in most cases, structurally they're sound. Floor joists, walls, 2x4s.
How about the neighborhood?
Neighborhoods aren't always that great.
All right.
But, because kids will come by and be throwing rocks in the windows when there's nobody around.
Okay, so how do you see some goal here? I can tell you must.
My goal is to bid on tearing down the house for free.
Yeah.
At my own expense for
the salvage.
The purpose of the salvage of the building material.
Mm-hmm.
And reconditioning as much of it as possible. And
well, you take it off site, you mean?
Yeah, take it off site, recondition it, strip it down like the outside lapboard walls and things like that.
I understand.
And reconstructing it at whatever cost at my own expense.
Reconstructing?
Reconstructing, yeah. Like the 2x4 walls, you tear them down.
Yeah.
You run them through a planer, sander, and clean up the 2x4s.
Yeah.
Repair or replace the ones that need to be replaced.
Yeah.
Set it back up on another lot somewhere.
Well, you can do that, I suppose.
And then turning it over for a profit.
Well, I hope, hopefully for a profit.
Well, it's basically a small operation. We're talking very small machine.
Well, the point is, do you think you can do this? I mean, are you expert enough to be able to move these sections of building and whatever to another location, put them up according to code? Can you and make any money? I mean, that's just it's a simple equation. It may not be a simple project, but I'd put a very hard pencil before I committed myself. I'm Bruce for Talknet.
Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Hello there.
Good evening, Bruce.
Good evening, my friend.
From the Great North Woods.
Wow, how is the weather in the Great North Woods?
Well, right now it's in the low teens. We're going to get some snow later this weekend, and that'll be good for snowmobiling and cross-country skiing and all that other good stuff.
I was talking to a friend in North Pole, Alaska on Wednesday evening. We are in the we just made an arrangement where we can have letters sent to children from Santa Claus in North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
35 below zero.
Well, some of that weather is heading this way. It can freeze up the lakes and start ice fishing here pretty soon, hopefully.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoy yourself ice fishing, snowmobiling, and whatever, and I will think of you as I water ski. What's on your mind?
Well, actually, we're looking forward to winter, but in April, my wife and I would like to take a vacation to somewhere tropical, and we want to go to some place that is where the beaches are lined with palm trees instead of high-rise condos and hotels. And we also want to go somewhere that's relatively inexpensive because we would like to spend the whole month there. And I remember last year you went to Costa Rica.
Yes.
That was a stop on a cruise that you went on.
I was there this year.
Or was this year? Okay.
No, I was there last year too. Last year and this year I've been in Costa Rica, yes.
Well, we've been considering Costa Rica. I just wanted to get your opinion on Costa Rica, and if you didn't like it, an opinion.
I don't dislike it. But I don't know that I want to spend a month there, but that's me. A lot of people seem to be very taken by Costa Rica.
We in the West
you're
Coast?
Certainly going. I'm sorry?
Were you in the West Coast?
I've only been on the West Coast. I have not been to the East Coast.
Okay.
So that may be completely different on the other side. I don't know. But you're certainly going to find places down there where there are no high-rises, I'll give you that. No condominiums. That should not be hard to find.
Okay.
Whether or not it's going to be a place you want to spend a month is another program. When you say inexpensive, could you define that for me?
Well, we could spend a total of under $100 a day. That includes hotel and food, etc. We're not into gambling. We're not into nightlife. We want to find some place that's kind of laid back and beautiful.
You can, in April, which is about the middle of April. April starts the off season. Now you say hotel. You see, we're back to. What do you demand in hotel services?
Oh, nothing extremely fancy.
Well, you can bet your life for $100 a day you're not going to find something extremely fancy. Are you willing to be a little bit on the primitive side?
Yeah, we kind of want that. We want some place that's kind of primitive, not very developed.
Well, you can go to places like Grenada, Antigua, Barbados, St. Kitts. I'm not sure you could do it $100 a day in Aruba or Curacao. Don't know if you could make it there. I doubt if you could make, well, maybe in parts of St. Martin.
Okay.
Don't know about Central America. I've been to most of the Central American countries, but I'm not familiar enough to make an assessment. And I suspect there are places in the Yucatan you can do it too. I doubt if you could do it in the Caymans, maybe in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard the Dominican Republic is kind of laid back and not real expensive, so that might be a possibility too.
And there might be parts of Jamaica as well you can do it.
Okay. So there's a lot of possibilities.
Oh, yeah. It's difficult for me to empathize, very frankly. I'm not sure I want to spend a month anywhere. I haven't spent a month in one place except the hospital. And I can't remember where.
Yeah, we enjoy the winter, but April is the transition season between winter and summer, and there's just nothing going on. The business that we're in is just totally dead, so there's no
What do you do?
We own a resort.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're in the recreation business, huh?
You betcha.
What do you do when somebody calls you and wants to stay for $100 a day for everything? Can you handle it?
Up here we can, yeah.
Can you really? For a couple?
For a couple, yes.
Oh, and recreate?
And recreate.
What can you do for $100 a day?
Well, we don't, let's say in the wintertime, which is...
That's your time of the year, I guess.
Yeah, right now we don't have good trail conditions or anything. We have basically no snow. But, I rent cabins for $75 a night. And
well, wait a minute. That only leaves $25 to eat on and recreate on.
Well, people bring their own snowmobiles. And the $75 in the wintertime includes a ice fishing house.
But you got to eat?
Well, for $25, you can eat pretty good up here. It's an expensive area.
I think we can agree. At $75 for lodging, that doesn't leave much for getting. For $25, the rest of the day's expensive is pretty light.
Well, if you buy a case of beer or something or go out drinking, it's going to cost more. But you can do it for $100 a day up here.
Uh-huh. But it would be out and out primitive.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that's what people like. People come up here, they rent a fishing house, and a lot of them, they just come up here to go ice fishing.
Mm-hmm.
They'll buy a case of beer and some chips and some ham sandwiches, and that's what they enjoy doing for the day.
God bless them. Now, they say different strokes. Exactly. I do wish you well, my friend. I can see why, after all of that, you might want to slip away to the Caribbean. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Let's go to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, so you realize that you are the first lady of the evening?
Oh, I don't know if that's good.
Oh, I think it's terrific. I mean, I've talked to all these guys with these deep voices. I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. What's on your mind?
Well, I got blindsided by a problem with my own company, and I wondered if you could tell me if I should have anticipated it.
Let's talk.
I had a chance to do some consulting for a company, and they asked me to incorporate myself so that there would be no way I could be considered an employee. And I did that, got a lawyer, and got incorporated. It's very exciting. And
I don't know why it's exciting, but that's okay.
Well, it was for me to have my own company, and they wrote the check to my company, and I took it to my bank account. And when I incorporated, I asked the lawyer, do I need to have a separate bank account for my company? And he said, no, you can just use your personal account.
Well, he was incorrect.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. You have to have what's called a corporate depository.
Uh-huh.
And in order to get that, you have to have a corporate resolution from your company, which is no big deal, authorizing the company to open a corporate account. And all checks made to a corporation must be deposited. They cannot be cashed.
Okay, well, I guess... So what do I say to my lawyer, then?
You say you made a mistake, dummy. It didn't cost you anything.
Well...
All you got to do is go down to what you have to do is go down to the bank, wherever you want to have an account. And you ask them for a blank corporate resolution, which they will provide. And you're the secretary, treasurer, president, and chief dishwasher, right?
Right.
You can sign the whole thing right there. If they may or may not want a corporate seal, you got a little kit for that too, I'm sure.
Right.
And that's all there is to it. You have to have a separate corporate account.
Okay, it did cause some difficulties for me because I deposited through my bank account in a machine, and my bank took like 2 weeks to notify me by letter that the deposit wasn't accepted.
Let me ask you, Siri, what is your first name?
Colleen.
Colleen, what are you depositing in a machine for? Tell me.
Why do you do that?
Well, I've got this really great credit union that's open 2 hours a day, and it's just really inconvenient.
Okay. It's open 2 hours a day. Huh? Maybe you're doing business with the wrong people.
That's true. Yeah, I should go to a real bank, I guess.
Well, I don't mean it's not a good credit union, but I mean 2 hours a day is not real convenient.
That's true.
So what happened after they let you know that you had written checks, I'm sure?
Well, I'm afraid I did try to cover some of the expenses I'd incurred so far, and none of the checks bounced. But
well, you got a break there anyway.
Not a good situation to be in. And
well, what? Well, none of the checks bounced. What about it? What happened, Colleen?
Well, I found out about it in time and covered the checks in my personal account.
Okay.
So I'll set up a corporate account and get the checks cashed.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to have a corporate account.
Yeah. I just heard you say so many times about having a lawyer, and I did have a lawyer, but...
Well, I mean, I want you to check the next time you're in a lawyer's office.
Uh-huh.
Every one of his or her pencils have erasers on them.
They can make mistakes?
Absolutely. Colleen, please. Oh, how old are you?
Old enough.
Okay.
Well, so you don't think I should switch lawyers or anything?
Well, I don't. Tell you the truth, an attorney that didn't know you have to have a corporate account. How old is this individual?
Well, I'd say he's 40.
You gotta be kidding. How long has he been practicing law?
I don't think that long, but he's teaching at one of the local universities, too.
That's scary.
Yeah. He's very cute.
Well, in that case, Colleen, you got something going there?
Well, I don't know anymore. I've lost respect for him.
Is that the way women think? You lose respect, and then the whole relationship goes away?
Right.
Is that it?
It's all mental.
Boy, I'm telling you, you and I are never going to pick out furniture if it's only mental. Anyway, let's stop it right there. I do think that and I'm willing to listen to somebody who wants to call and tell me I'm all wet, but damn well I'm not. Number is 703-413-8381. I've had many a corporate account, and I have never opened one that was not required to provide a corporate resolution and have the account in the corporate name. Once you do that, you can move the money very comfortably from one place to the other.
Right. Well, he said as long as I was legally incorporated in the state, then they should cash business checks in my personal account.
Well, I'd like to listen to I would invite a banker to agree with that or contravene that. You listen to the radio, maybe we'll find somebody, okay?
Thanks so much, Bruce.
It's been a joy. Let me ask you one. Are you making any money at this?
Well, not in terms of the number of hours I put in, but
well, no, that's another story.
But they want another project with me, so I guess it went well.
Let's just kick this. Got to make some money out of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye now. If there's a banker out there who wants to agree with me or disagree, I'd like to hear from you at 703-413-8381. 703-413-8381. It's my contention that in order to have to cash a corporate instrument, you have to have a corporate account, you have to have a corporate resolution, designating that bank as a depository for that corporation, and so on and so forth. You just can't put corporate checks in your checking account. I think the attorney screwed up. Maybe not. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I have a caller from Ridgecrest, California. I'd like to comment about a little situation with a bank. Hello there. Ridgecrest, are you there? Hello.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello there. I almost hung up on you. Thank you.
Enjoy your program very much. I just wanted to comment on that last caller.
Yes.
As I'm not incorporated, but I've been a sole proprietor for 11 years, and I can't imagine an attorney giving somebody that kind of advice. I can't imagine running business income through a personal checking account. It'd be a bookkeeper's nightmare.
Well, but you could do it if it was a trade style. A trade style, as long as you have you can open an account with a trade style with a multiple uses, but you can't with a corporation.
I see. Well, I don't know.
But you're absolutely right. It would be when you're mix and matching like that. Maybe you're trying to obscure the paper trail. That would be a different matter. You would certainly you'd be successful in that regard, but you clearly cannot cash corporate checks in non-corporate accounts. There's no question about that.
It would drive you nuts at tax time.
Well, beyond the tax consequence, it is not permitted to do it. That's all.
Oh, well, I didn't know whether it was permitted or not.
I'm confident it is not permitted.
It's unimaginable to me, anyway.
Well, bad advice sometimes by attorneys too. They're culpable as well as the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your call, guy.
All right.
St. Petersburg, Florida. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
That's nice. Listen, I was in an accident last Friday, and the insurance company said, "Oh no, don't get an attorney and this jazz and that."
What do you mean the insurance company? For the other side, you mean?
Yes, right. And it happens to be the insurance company insures both the vehicle I was in and the at-fault party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm wondering, they had me sign, to get right to the point, they had me sign some medical release form because I was injured and I'm having some problems.
Why did you do that?
That was my question. Did I make a mistake there? Because I have some
you certainly did.
in the future. Well, okay, why?
Because you said you had an accident last week.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy to be signing anything so early.
Oh. Is there any particular reasons for the...
Yeah, for what? For them or for you?
Well, for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of very good reasons. You don't know the extent of your injury yet.
Okay.
Well, it's nonsense. What did they give you to sign this?
A pen.
What did you get out of signing it?
Nothing in particular. We were just, they were helping the person to fix the car, whose car I was driving.
Yeah.
And they were working that out, and nothing in particular. They just had me fill out some forms and so forth, and just thought it was one of the procedures, you know. I didn't think it was, but I got to thinking about, wait a minute, why do they want medical records unless...
Well, no, wait a minute. What exactly did you sign? Or do you know?
I think I made a mistake with what I said. That didn't say a medical release form, like releasing them from any...
Oh, that's what you said.
No, I meant a medical release form for medical records.
To me, no, what you mean is a release to them of your medical records.
Right.
I have no problem with that.
Oh, that's no problem?
No, I have no problem with that.
Even though they're that...
I have no problem with that, because they could, if in the event that this becomes adversarial, they could get them anyway.
Is that right?
Sure, they get them by discovery.
Oh, okay.
Even if you decided to hire an attorney and you're going to fight them tooth and nail, they have a right to those records.
So at the point of demand, the attorney's demand, then...
Well, it makes it a little harder for them, that's all.
Right.
But just as if you were in an accident with someone else, or you're a pedestrian for the sake of discussion.
Right.
You have a right to know how much insurance the other guy carries. Now, you may
how
say,
do I find that out, though? I mean,
well, because you see that what's called in what is called the discovery process.
If I don't have an attorney,
then without an attorney, it can be tough.
It can be tough to even get that information.
Yes, sir.
Well, I do know this: it was a business vehicle,
right?
And so I'm assuming I had.
It's a reasonable assumption that they're adequately insured, and it's also reasonable that you are not particularly badly injured, from what you're telling me.
Oh, I have sustained some injury, yes.
Well, I didn't say that you didn't. I said it didn't seem to me that you're badly injured. Maybe I made a mistake.
No, it's not like I'm in a coma.
Well, what's the nature of your injuries?
Oh, well, being on the radio, I'd probably be best if I didn't, go real into detail about it and so forth. But I'm in some pain.